of severe weather possible. And I think this is just the beginning. We are going to be here for a while to keep you updated. First of all, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for specifically Jackson, northern Jackson, and western Joe Daviess County. This goes till 6:45. We have a circulation in that line of storms right there that's already past Dyersville, between Dyersville and the Iowa-Illinois border. That warning is for potential destructive conditions and a possible tornado. And again, with the possible wind speeds of 90 miles per hour, you need to take shelter immediately. These storms are moving at 40 to 50 miles per hour. And what this all means is when you hear of a warning for your area, you need to take shelter immediately, because these are going to be moving through very quickly. And remember, since they're coming from the west, if you have a house that has a situated line of trees or big trees on the west side of your house, that is something that could potentially fall onto your house. So that's why you need to take shelter absolutely as soon as possible. We go south, and again, you see that reddish box. That's for a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible. This will go till 7 p.m. and this particular warning includes portions of Cedar, Clinton, Jackson, and Jones County, and that is possibly bringing 80-mile-per-hour winds, large hail as well. But again, we're looking at rotation in this line of storms, so tornadoes are possible. We actually have tornado warnings a little farther west, including northern Cedar County, and you do see the heavy rain and the hail cores. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lightning off here, and what you can see is this line of torrential rainfall. Even though these are fairly progressive storms, we're still looking at the possibility of flash flooding, and we do have flash flood warnings where these storms have already occurred just along and south of Highway 20 from Waterloo back to Interstate 35. Another tornado warning there on the southern end of this line, which is just south of Des Moines, and you can see that's the line that's forming right now. We've been talking about this for a few days now, how everything would congeal into a line of storms that will slam the area with potentially 80-mile-per-hour winds. But you see that one severe thunderstorm warning, Weather Service is tagging that with possible 90-mile-per-hour winds. So take what we had last night and maybe multiply it by a time and a half, because we've again got this line of storms that will now be moving through the northern QCA, and we've got to get through all of this. This could take the whole evening or much of the evening before we see these storms exit portions of the viewing area. So again, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings, destructive tags, and tornadoes possible. And we'll allow Kyle Dickens, who's manning the radar right now, to get in on some of these storms and show us where the circulation is. As you can take over, Kyle, and just give us some rotation on these as you move on in. But again, we do have an active tornado warning just for extreme northwestern Cedar County. That storm isn't even into the to Cedar County just yet. But again, it's because of that line moving in and creating circulation. And we have already seen a few tornado warnings and a few thunderstorms with circulations. No reports of anything, I think, just yet. But that's certainly going to be one of the possibilities. As this line of storms moves into the area, it's that leading edge that we get very suspicious of, because that's where these spin-up tornadoes can occur. And you're already dealing with that potential of 70 to 80 to even 90-mile-per-hour winds, and you add some spin to that, and these are going to be destructive, isolated tornadoes, nothing that we're going to see widespread. But where we get these small spin-up tornadoes, you can certainly anticipate damage. I know of seeing social media today, people taking heed of these preliminary statements of this situation that we've been putting out and bringing things in from their lawn, and that's good advice. I mean, you see that most of our viewing area is storm-free right now. If you have the chance to get lawn furniture, your kids' toys, maybe some construction equipment or piles of wood if you're doing some renovating or remodeling into the garage where they won't blow away, we can guarantee that you will have them for another day. But as far as our severe thunderstorm warnings are concerned, yeah, the color on this map has changed back to yellow, but these two severe thunderstorm warnings for the northwest portion of the TV6 viewing area, north and northwest, do indicate severe thunderstorm warnings with destructive potential and possible tornadoes.
Yeah, and Eric, to follow up here with what we're talking about here is we've got several situations going on right now. The tornado threat that you mentioned, but we also have the potential for, not just the potential, confirmed destructive winds right now, and that is up to 90 miles an hour. that's going to do a lot of damage. That starts to get into that structural damage. Think about this. It's that's the wind speeds of an EF0 tornado. So that's what we're seeing, and that's in a widespread area. So this is a dangerous situation that continues to be unfolding here. We're going to take a look at this. We can stay with this shot, and then you could see here, look at that. What's happening with this and what I'm concerned with is if we can go back out here to the weather BAM. I don't know if that's, and I can show you real quick here what we're watching. So what we're watching is this line is starting to take a little bit of a southeasterly dive. When this happens, this is when we typically see the maxed out winds. So we're going to start seeing those 80 to 90 mile an hour winds. We're seeing that now getting confirmed here, especially up into northwest of the Maquoketa area there near kind of northwestern portions of Jackson County. That's where we're already starting to see that and getting a lot of confirmed reports of that. But also continue with that tornado warning as well. This is really setting up to be a pretty serious situation here as this is now entering the TV6 viewing area, Eric.
Yeah, and what you were saying about the turn to the southeast here, we are sitting under air that's got 80-degree dew points. This is extremely moist air. Temperatures in the 90s right now. Heat indexes, if you're watching our 4 or 5 o'clock news, are peaking between 110, 115. This is absolutely a charged atmosphere. We were talking through the day about how much energy the atmosphere has, and it's about to unleash that potential now as the storms move toward the, we use this term kind of loosely here, this juicy air, but you know it if you've been out, you felt it. It's all going to be down along and south of Interstate 80 and north up to Highway 30. That's why these are going to start making that southeast turn. And you'll see on the radar as we go through the evening how that leading edge kind of bows out like a backward C. That's the indication that we get, and you can almost see it already right here, that we're going to look at leading edge winds, perhaps 80 to as much as 90 miles per hour. And that's what gives us those spin up tornadoes, and of course those kind of winds, that's hurricane strength wind right there. So we're likely going to see a lot of trees down tonight. We hope you're going to take heed of the warning and get into a safe spot as these storms roll through your neighborhood. And let me also point out that when you get winds this strong, this is why we say this all the time, and it's because those civil defense warning sirens that are in your community, they weren't designed for people inside. They were designed to let people know who are outside to get inside. So you might, and I saw some emails from last night, you might never hear the siren because the wind is blowing so hard around your structure that all you can hear is the wind. You can't hear the siren, and you scratch your head and say, why wasn't there a siren? Well, one, there was. Two, you just couldn't hear it. And three, if you're inside, those sirens really aren't meant for you. They're meant for people who are outside, telling them to get inside. But as we do a little bit of a leading edge track here and give you some estimated arrival times, Galena about 6:29, Elizabeth 6:47, of course, up into portions of Joe Davies County, but Maquoketa in Jackson County about 6:31, Savannah 7:01, and it's because of the curved nature of the leading edge that we're bouncing between counties in Iowa and Illinois here. Clinton at 7:13, Freeport beyond our viewing area, but the Quad Cities, if this holds together, 7:37. And again, right now we could be measuring that leading edge coming in 40 miles per hour or more, but that leading edge speed will likely increase as we go through the next few hours. We could see some of these storms be moving into the area soon at about 60 miles per hour once they start hitting their peak.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Eric, I just wanted to real quickly jump in here because noticing a little bit, this is outside the viewing area, but that is where we're seeing this circulation here, and that's why we've got that tornado warning that does include portions of Cedar County. But most importantly here, we're going to slide up to the north here. This is something I'm noticing here. I have one product in particular that I'm looking at here has got some winds showing up to 100 miles an hour. So there's 73. And folks, here's the issue. This is on the northern fringe of our viewing area. This is 60 to 70 miles outside of the range of the radar. So this is much further up into the atmosphere. Radar shoots out into, not straight out, but up in the sky and the earth curves. So you're getting further and further up as you go further out. Well, this is up a little bit further. This is not technically at the surface, but we're seeing already 73-mile-an-hour winds. We're getting reports confirmed by trained weather spotters just moments ago here. Continues with up to, there's another 92-mile-an-hour wind gust was reported in this vicinity. So this is getting ready to move into Jackson and Dubuque counties and Joe Daviess County here very soon.
All right, let's go back to reflectivity and give us a whole show here. Widen this thing out so you can see the whole line if you can, Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely.
I certainly want to show people what we're about to deal with. And again, this is just the beginning here, but you can see you can even zoom out past Des Moines so we can get this whole line. Yeah, there you go. Lightning comes off, and there you can see this line starting to develop. And again, this is something we've been talking about, how these individual storms would congeal into a line. And when that happens, that's when we're talking about that strong outflow. And by the way, I would bet that in the lighting that we have this evening, you're going to see some very interesting mothership-like shelf clouds coming your way. And if you see that, that's a good time. That's a good sign. I know we joke about Iowans and Illinoisans out there when they're supposed to be inside taking their pictures of the storms. But if you see that shelf cloud, that ominous leading edge cloud coming your way, okay, take your picture only if it's safe to do so, but then get inside, because that's what means business. That's definitely the sign to get inside. And again, right now we're dealing with some severe thunderstorm warnings. Looks like they've gone back to standard issue severe thunderstorm warnings here for portions of Joe Daviess, northern Jackson, and then this other warning that includes Jackson County, portions of Clinton County, and also Cedar County, again accounting for that leading edge. This is why I say that pretty much all of our counties are going to go under some kind of warning as we go through the evening, because you can see the extent of that leading edge. That's where the wind is, and this is all going to be moving east and southeast as we go literally through the next 2 to 3 hours. By the way, I should say, I know there are a lot of you very interested in NBC programming tonight. We're talking about the interview with the president, everything going on with the RNC. Do be assured that you can see that full interview on NBC.com. I'm sure they could possibly rerun it later tonight if you have access to NBC, MSNBC, I should say. But anything that we cover up tonight, specifically during this prime time, you will be able to see on NBC.com. Again, our lead story and what you need to be concerned with mostly this evening is this line of severe weather coming our way as we go through our Monday evening.
Yeah, it's going to be bumpy here. And it's only going to start increasing in activity. I'm going to back things out real quick. We've got this activity going on over us, but just saw some reports here outside of the Des Moines area of a large tornado that was moving over the Drake University area. So let's see if we still have that. But what's the reason we bring this up, a couple tornado warnings here. We might see a second round behind this line. It's not completely out of the question. We'll see how much of this line can eat into some of that energy, but there's not just some energy. There is massive amounts of thunderstorm energy, some of the most we've seen in quite some time. But right now, from north to south, this is moving in, and this is starting to really, it's got its eyes set here on the Galena area. This portion of the severe thunderstorm, or this portion of the line rather, I would say from Anamosa to Loudon up towards the Savannah Galena area, Dubuque. This is very significant, and this is a part that we've noticed some 90-mile-an-hour winds. But what's going to happen here, you see this big gush down, that this little area from Iowa City up towards Anamosa, that pushing down, that's becoming kind of the central portion of this line. That's where we typically see the maxed out winds. You get what's called an inflow jet behind that. We do have some new warnings that have been popping up here, but we're getting a lot of reports too. I'd like to mention this, as Eric mentioned as well. Yes, sirens are going off in communities. People reporting sirens in Clinton. It's proactive at this point. You might be looking out and just seeing these thunder heads way off to your northwest. They're going to start really trucking. Right now, they're moving about 35 to 40 miles an hour. Before long, they'll be moving 50 to 60 miles an hour. So even some of these times, we're trying to factor that in here, but you might want to add a few minutes because these will really start trucking as they dive off to the southeast, Eric. All
right, I'm going to commandeer the graphic system right now as we come back, and you are right. There are more warnings that have been issued down this way in advance of this line, and these are very long warnings, too. I mean, spatially, they are long ahead of the leading edge of the storms, storms. That's because these are moving so fast. So we do have a first alert day. This will not only be for the severe threat, but for the next couple of hours, still very hot and humid. I mean, if you do have to go outside and clean your yard, if you're going to be lifting some heavy things, make sure you get a good swig of water before you go out, because we're talking about these heat indexes that are still anywhere between 100 and 110 to 115. Severe thunderstorm watch continues till 11, and that's usually a pretty good idea of timing out when the storms will be farther to the east. And you can see the end of that severe thunderstorm watch box just off to our east here, east of Bureau County. So you would think that by about 11 o'clock, anywhere from Burlington to Galesburg to Kewanee to Princeton, that's probably where that line would be by then, if not a little bit farther south. And also, we're talking about our hazards here. Of course, we're talking about the possibility of tornadoes. Strong wind, I think, is the main hazard here, because we're going to be looking at a wide swath from those thunderstorms, which encompasses our level 4 severe weather risk here as we go through the evening, of 80-plus-mile-per-hour winds. Also some large hail, specifically up to about 1 inch to 2 inches. Would not be surprised if that's what we see. Heat advisory continues until 8 o'clock. For some of you, that extreme heat will end once you get the rain, but not that it's going to cool down that much, and it's going to stay really, really humid. We'll continue that humidity through the night, but after tomorrow, we'll really chip away at it. We'll start chipping away at it on Tuesday. But again, there you see what we're dealing with in terms of the radar. Severe thunderstorm warning here in that pinkish red. That is destructive tag, and these storms are just starting to get into western Jackson County now, and another severe thunderstorm warning again. So western Clinton County, western Jackson County, northern Jackson County, western Joe Daviess County. You need to be taking shelter now, because the leading edge, which you can see is starting to bow out, indicating those very strong winds, that is now starting to affect your areas, and that means it won't be long before those storms get to your homes. So you need to be taking shelter as we go on through. And there's a little bit of a close-up look at what we're dealing with. I'll give you back the radar right now, and just after we do that review there, what we're looking at, severe thunderstorm warnings that will continue for the next few hours.
Yeah, I don't know if we're still okay. There we go. So one thing I'm noticing here, Eric, I'm going to zoom in here to a couple areas that we were watching. This is really ramping up as far as activity goes, but look at that right there. That is what you call a vortex, a bookend vortex there, a little quasi-linear tornado that's forming here. I believe this area is under that tornado warning. Let's double check on that, but if not, I don't think it is. So we'll look here and see. Yeah, it is not under a... It currently is not under a tornado warning, but what we're seeing here, folks, is a very textbook indication that there is a circulation here. You get that green, that is that strong, damaging to destructive winds pushing out of the storm. You get a little bit of this red, that's winds moving away from the radar. Well, what's happening there, that's spinning up. You can see that little circle there. You're making that little green area out as a circle. That's your little vortex, like a little whirlpool, if you will, just outside the Olin area. So if you're out towards Lost Nation up to Makokata, I go ahead and take your tornado precautions right now. Again, these warnings are coming with those tags, tornado possible, so we're on that high end with these. You don't really get them much higher, unfortunately, as we got those destructive tag, tornado possible. So if you're out towards Lost Nation and Makokata, move indoors now. Get to your safe space now if you're out there, because this is starting to really move pretty quickly. But also, this area up here into Dubuque County, Galena, and northern portions of Jackson County, you need to be moving indoors now. You need to be taking shelter immediately, because look at these winds. I bet you we're going to see some 80s here. Yep, there we go. 83-mile-an-hour winds indicated right here. Here's Otter Creek. There's 61. This is crossing 61 right now. Here's Dubuque. Dubuque, you're in the middle of this right now. Galena, shelter now, move indoors. Bellevue as well. This surge of destructive winds is getting ready to move into your vicinity here within the next several minutes.
Yeah, and I'm looking at some of the chat I'm getting from the National Weather Service, and we're getting reports of rainfall rates in excess of 8 inches per hour. So we are definitely going to throw, as we have been talking about, that flash flood threat in as well. So these storms, they're pretty progressive, but you can see on radar just how wide they are, and with all that rain falling that quickly, if you live in a low-lying area or a flood-prone area, especially from thunderstorm flooding, you really need to be prepared to get to higher ground, but also watch your top. I mean, we'll have strong winds going through at the same time, and possibly some isolated tornadoes. And that's what we were looking at here on the leading edge of this system. At this point of the leading edge, we've got those 80-mile-per-hour winds. So this would be moving toward the leading edge itself. Say Galena by about 6:31, Elizabeth 6:45, Woodbine a little bit before 7 o'clock. And you know, here's something I want to say: when you see these times, because the speed of these storms can change, and at this point of these storms, they're still kind of young, they're probably going to be speeding up. So when you see those times, I would subtract 5 to 10 minutes from that estimated time of arrival that the computer is figuring out, and do your best to get into your shelter at that earlier time. Here we now have that tornado warning for that spin right there, that little leading edge vortex, and this is for Clinton and Jackson County. This will go till 7 o'clock. Along with that, the threat for hail, about 3/4 of an inch in diameter. But again, that's what we call a little inflow notch. And when we see these little spins, as we talk about on the leading edge of these storms, you're dealing with a lot. You've got a tornado coming through. All around that circulation, you've probably got 70 to 90-mile-per-hour winds. So it's a widespread course of potential destruction with these storms. And again, I said it earlier, based on what we saw last night, I think we're going to be losing quite a few trees around the area. And if you have a precarious tree on the west side of your property, make sure when you take shelter, get on the east side of your house, as far east as you can, in that lowest possible level. Because if that tree falls on your house, blown down by these strong winds, I would hate to see anything bad happen. Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay, we got a report right now, getting 2 reports of funnel clouds and a possible tornado near the Wyoming area. This is in Jones County, but again, look at where this is heading, folks. And this was that circulation we were just watching here before you got the first alert here on that before it was tornado warning. But just southwest of the Wyoming area, very strong indication of circulation to the northwest of Wheatland. Maquoketa, you're in this warning over towards Preston, down towards Clinton. I believe you're included in this. Actually, no, you're not. It's to DeWitt right now. We'll get kind of zoomed in here and get some other cities, but Charlotte, you're in this. Maquoketa, again, Preston, you're in this warning as well. So right there is that circulation. Pretty strong indication, Eric, there. That's a very strong for these types of systems. We knew this was going to be a deal today, not just the destructive winds, but also that potential tornado. The other thing behind this, too, we don't want to just focus on that tornado potential there, or what we're getting reports now of that confirmed tornado. Backing out, we've got several areas here, these pockets of destructive winds, and it's getting ready to move into, it is moving into northern portions of Jackson County. Again, Joe Daviess County, Galena, shelter now. You need to be moving indoors. That is a fairly large, almost a county-wide there, pool of destructive winds up to 80, maybe even 90 miles an hour, getting ready to move into northern Jackson County. But also behind this, here's that circulation, and to the north of Tipton there, a pretty solid area, about, I'd say about 30 miles from north to south, of 70 to 80 mile an hour winds as well.
Yeah, why don't we zoom in on that little circulation there. Sure. And see how close we can get. I just want to find out, okay, it's right over Hale. Wyoming, Oxford Junction, again, Wyoming already getting pounded by the stronger winds most likely. In Oxford Junction, if you haven't taken shelter yet, do so, because not only do we have this little circulation here, doesn't look like it's as well defined as it was a moment ago. Right here in the blue, again, as I said earlier, we're going to see this circulation surrounded by 70 to 80 plus mile per hour winds. So it's really going to slam into your location when it moves that way. And again, these are moving kind of east-southeast at 40 plus miles per hour, maybe a little faster than that. But there you do see, and again, it's not the greatest definition that we had earlier. It might not be so defined, but it's still there, still certainly showing up. We've got air going this way, outbound from the radar site, and if you follow the pixels circles in toward the Quad Cities. That's where the radar site is. And over here in the green, very strong rotation toward the radar site and then wrapping around that. So that's where we have a possible tornado, or at least funnel clouds, which we've been getting reports of. And that's all in that tornado warning that is going to include Jackson and Clinton County until 7 p.m. along with the heavy rain threat. And there you can see hail. Didn't notice extremely high hail cores, but they are out there. So again, all threats right now. So you need to get to your shelter, stay away from windows. Obviously, not only would you have large hail, the potential for that blowing into those windows, but with those strong winds, it can blow hail into the window so strong it can break the windows. So get away from windows, take your shelter.
Yeah, I want to show this. Look at this mess here, Eric, is where they've just upped this warning now to include, that's 90-mile-an-hour winds. And this is being confirmed. So destructive, 90-mile-an-hour. This is for Dubuque, Jackson, Joe Davies, and Jones County. This warning in effect until 6:45. But again, folks, timing on these, everybody that is in this path of this, you're going to see something with this. But you'll notice here, Eric, the other thing I'm catching is all of a sudden we're seeing a big uptick. Look at all these tornadic vortex signatures. And radar has done a great job of picking them up. But look at tornado possible circulation here. So that's the issue with this. As this continues to dive to the southeast, I'll take a wider view. Now that we've got that update on that warning, we continue with that tornado warning as well. But they're calling that a destructive storm with 90-mile-an-hour winds, folks. That's a very serious situation. And let's see what this warning down here towards the one here in the south, that does include a little bit bigger portion of the area. We'll see what we've got tagged for that, because I think it's still at 70 or possibly 80 on that. So this one is, let's get into that. It's going to still be the 80 on that. So yeah, so dangerous situation, but really from Tipton up to the north to Galena, that's where we're watching that core of the most destructive winds. Eric, I'll take a wider view here so we can kind of get a view of everything from north to south.
Yeah, and look to the west. No matter where you are in the TV6 viewing area, to your northwest or west, there is a warning of some kind. Nobody's going to escape getting a warning this evening. That whole line there, and it continues to expand farther south and west, is going to be moving through the TV6 viewing area at some point this evening. So if you had evening plans that include anything outside, they are certainly in jeopardy. Sporting events, there might be some that start on the Illinois side, but boy, as soon as some lightning gets closer, they see that ominous cloud on the horizon. I'm certainly hoping that those get suspended, because this line of storms is pretty much already what it was cracked up to be, and that's a major wind producer and also flooding rain producer as well. So this will go through during the evening hours. Right now it's just north and west of the Quad Cities proper, but you see those warnings now bump up against Scott County, so it's getting closer. It's making its progress. 40 to 50 mile per hour lead movement on that line of storms there, and within the storms we're noticing circulations, tornadic circulations. Might only be spin up, small tornadoes that might have winds of 80 to 100 miles per hour, but that is enough to do damage, and that's why this is a very serious situation as we go through the evening. It's just starting, folks. It's just starting. This is going to continue to evolve, especially in the next hour or two, as that line really starts to get to its peak in strength, continuing to kind of literally plow through the TV6 viewing area. Right now, we're going to go to some cameras from the Dubuque area. Dubuque already taking a hit from these storms, and there you can see the torrential rainfall. Again, flooding is definitely a possibility. Not only that, but we've got also the storms kind of blowing things around. So there is a bridge in here someplace. This is the actual bridge here, Beth. Is this Highway 20 perhaps, or one of the 61 bridge. Okay, this is what would go into Wisconsin up toward Dickeyville and then eventually Platteville. But look at how low the visibility is with this torrential rain. And this is what's going to cause some flooding. Also, along with this rain, some strong winds. This is a pretty good, solid camera. But before, we did have those storms kind of blowing things around. All right, new tornado warning here. This includes much of Clinton County, at least northwestern and north central Clinton County, and also southern portions of Jackson County. This is a brand new tornado warning, and if we zoom in, we can get the info on that.
Yeah, this is actually that same severe thunderstorm warning, Eric, that same tornado warning rather, that was in place until 7 for that circulation we've been watching.
Okay.
But there is a new severe thunderstorm warning here that includes all of Scott County. This includes, let's get into
good chunk of Rock Island.
Yes,
County.
Rock Island County as well.
Rock Island,
and it is a considerable damage threat, but they are noting here, I want to make this very clear that they are concerned that this is going to continue to be a 90-mile-an-hour wind producer as it now takes that southeasterly dive.
And this is going to include the Metro Quad Cities, at least portions of the Metro Quad Cities. There you see the dividing line right here. So if you're looking to the west, northwest, and I do have a sky view that we can point that way. I think it already is, but eventually we're going to see that leading edge move in. And so not only with the tornado warning, but these severe thunderstorm warnings, these are for strong storms. Again, you don't see a whole lot here in terms of detail, but we can anticipate, since these storms are coming at us at a pretty good clip, we could get 70 to 80 mile per hour winds. Looking right here, almost looks like it might be kind of blowing itself out already, but there you see what's heading our way, and when that gets closer, you'll start to get more definition on this shelf cloud, most certainly, as that drops to the Quad Cities from the north and west. Yeah, the latest radar returns there that you just showed us, Kyle, I'm a little suspicious of that. It almost seems like things are trying to break up already. And we're getting a lot of yellow in there with the peppered in with the red.
Yeah, we'll go back to that real quick. I just wanted to pull this up just to kind of give a quick update, as we've got a lot of viewers asking, well, okay, what's going on warning-wise? Well, here we go. This is the layout of all the current warnings, including those darker colored warnings. I think that almost a peach color there. Those are those destructive tagged severe thunderstorm warnings.
Big box is the watch.
Yeah, big box is the watch.
All the warnings.
And what I'll do here, I guess I can't get into that, but we've got those tornado warnings as well. Going back to radar, though, as you mentioned, so this is one thing that is interesting, and how these evolve. You know, folks, I know if you've been with us for which we've had quite the year so far of severe weather. A lot of times, and people have asked, and it's very true, is what we've seen is a lot of this activity. It forms out in central Iowa, and then it's kind of on its last leg by the time it makes its way here, but still has a good push. And we usually see these destructive storms that make their way into the metro and then really fall apart once they hit the river.
And this is what I'm noticing right back here. We're starting to get some yellow pixels, which indicate a lessening of the intensity of the rainfall with that deep red. I'm not saying that this thing's, you know, blowing itself out or weakening already, but it will be interesting to see how this evolves south of Interstate 80. And remember, that's where the hottest, juiciest air is, so it might come back at us and re-strengthen.
I think that's what the concern is, because what there is behind this is what's called a rear inflow jet. It's winds that are pushing and kind of feeding this storm, and that's going to push against it and bow it out. But what that usually is a good indicator of is that you can see these higher end severe events where you get the destructive 90-mile-an-hour winds. So that is the concern. But yeah, it is interesting. Doesn't look as bode here, but that also could bode well for that tornado risk that they've been concerned with. And that was a growing concern here this afternoon, is really notice that. And we'll zoom in here, because anytime we get these little notches to form, really, oh, look at that. They're near southwest of the Bellevue area. Look at those winds there.
But I do want to point out, we've got a new warning that includes the rest of Joe Davies and northern Carroll County here as well. And again, we're looking at tornado possible, strong winds with that reddish outline to our severe thunderstorm warning here, kind of that pinkish outline. Here you go, till 7:45. This would be for, this is our warning back a little farther.
No, this is
this is okay. Carroll, Joe Davies. Yeah, all right, there we go. Carroll, Joe Davies. It's a pretty big warning, so it does extend farther west. But if you are in Carroll County now, northern Carroll County, probably just north of Savannah, Palisades north, let's say, and up in toward Hanover in southern Joe Davies County, 7:45. That's the expiration time of this warning. Look at that, possible wind speeds up to 90 miles per hour. And again, destructive tag on that. And also, because we get those little notches, those inflow notches on the leading edge of these storms, tornado is possible. So take your shelter now. Even if you're out here in the northeastern portion of Carroll County and eastern Joe Davies County, again, it's time to take shelter, or at least get it ready. So, you know, you're not clearing out laundry baskets or boxes or kids' pool tables or whatever it might be. away from that sweet spot where you call a tornado shelter. Get that done now if the storm isn't in your area. And that really goes for everybody, because again, this quilt work of warnings, which is what I love Tom Skilling used to call it, because that's what it is. It's like a quilt. Every little box is a warning. This is going to expand as we go through the evening and these storms drop south and east through the Quad Cities area. So if you have the time right now, and a lot of us do, because these are barely into the viewing area, this is your time to make sure you know where the kids are. You know that the lawn is cleared of things that you want to save for another day, and you know where your shelter is, and that shelter is ready to occupy, as opposed to occupied by the pet carrier or a box of this or a box of that. So this is the time to make sure you're all set to go when these storms arrive.
Yeah, look, we checked this out here. This is a good indication right now of what is happening. You mentioned the reflectivity, which is how intense the rain is, looked a little like it was weakening. Well, actually what's happening, we look at the velocity, and that's why we got to look at the velocity, is because this kind of shows a different story. Northwest of Tipton here in Cedar County, noticing a new development, a core of destructive winds. Probably at this point, we'll stop it and I'll put some kind of track around there and see what we've got for wind. I guarantee we'll probably see some 70s. They were at 65 there, so a little core developing there of 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. But here in that tornado warning area, this is getting ready to move into Cedar County, Clinton County as well. We've got some 70s up there. Real quick too, I'll kind of move up to the north here. Look at this mess going through the Joe Davies County area. Based on our warnings, you should be in shelter now, but and continue to stay in your shelter. But we got at times here 70 to 80 mile an hour winds. There's 56, so seeing them drop a little bit up here. But the one concern is these notches. Look at these notches, look pretty strong. We do have a tornado warning up into Wisconsin, but we got to continue to watch that. But overall, I'll back things up here once again and put this in motion, and you can kind of see the evolution of this. And look at these, all from west of Iowa City here, up through the line here. These cores of destructive winds seem to be expanding a little bit and getting stronger. So that's something we're watching.
Yeah, and we've got, I'm looking at some of the reports. We've had reports of 65 to 70 plus 75 mile per hour winds, 76 really, from this line. And also a report from Zwingle, Iowa, right up there on Northern Highway 61, that the winds have settled down a little bit behind the leading edge of these storms, but it's raining so hard that there's hydroplaning potential on the roads up there, especially 61, where you're trying to do, 65 miles per hour, which is the speed limit. Obviously, some are doing over 70, but now it's probably limited to 50 if you want to stay on the road because of this torrential rainfall. And again, that's going to be another threat. Some of the green boxes you don't see because our wind reflectivity is green, but there are flash flood warnings behind this line after all that rain has fallen, because we've had some reports or estimations that the rain rate at some points of this storm is above 8 inches per hour. So it takes the 30 minutes that this thing takes to move through a neighborhood, and it's already dumped 4 inches of rain, and that's certainly a flooding potential right there. Still looking at this active tornado warning, leading edge spin up looks to be right there, kind of closing in on western Clinton County as we look at southeastern Jones County, where that notch was, and it's probably just about ready to cross the border. So that's why we have that tornado warning out, and that does include portions of southern Jackson County, northern Clinton County, kind of northwestern Clinton County, which it looks like would be the most threatened area, not so much southern Jackson County where that warning is. And there you see some of the estimated times of arrival. Durant, about 6:49, Savannah, 6:58. But again, we're kind of more concerned about DeWitt, which just is on the outside of that box. So that might be, 6:50-ish. 7 o'clock kind of ETA.
Sure. The thing that so we look here, and I'll try to slow this down a little bit and move it to very slow. And what we can see here is you can see where that circulation was. We'll go through this and we'll track it. Here it was. Let's catch it right there. That's where we were warned for. So right here, circulation right there. It dove kind of southeast to Wheatland. It's gone. I'm not seeing it there. It went away. But what we are seeing is kind of a worse situation here, because we got this big pool of destructive winds now. And look at those colors there. That's when you see those dark.
Just southwest of Wyoming.
Yeah.
If you were to query that about, you see that dark blue just southwest of Wyoming. Yeah, the 90+ mile per hour winds.
Yeah,
So.
that's going to do some major damage, folks, and that is, unfortunately, and what we look at here is, I know, Eric, you've mentioned this before, too. What this product is, it's the winds, but it's particles that are moving inside the storm. Sometimes viewers have asked, okay, why does it say that? But at times we don't get to see those winds at the surface. Well, that wind has to get pushed down to the ground. Well, today's a day where that is happening pretty easily, and based on the reports that we're seeing, these sometimes these estimates are even coming in a little bit lower than what we're estimating on radar. That is, are coming in a little bit lower than what is actually happening. So, pretty serious situation here. So, Oxford Junction into northwestern portions of Clinton County and Jackson County definitely take shelter now.
And one of our earliest storm reports coming in from Dubuque County, and again, I transfer this to you, convey this to you to give you an idea of how strong these storms are. 4 to 6 inch branches down on a tree, and I think that's kind of going to be kind of on the low end of how things shape up tonight, because again, we're looking at, as Kyle is taking a look at right here, and what we call querying, 80 to 90+ mile per hour winds, and that's on a pretty broad basis here. I mean, the spin up, which is just outside of Toronto, what's left of it, and it's not very impressive. One, little group of pixels on the radar, but when you see all this, I mean, that's the southeastern corner of a whole county, and that's a widespread area of 80+ to 90 mile per hour winds. That's going to be what's going to be laying down the lines of destruction, I think, for the most part, as we go through the night. Cal?
Yeah, new tornado warning here. This is going to be for the Jackson County, excuse me, I apologize for that. This is going to be for Carroll and Joe Davies County. We got a new tornado warning that was just issued here. We'll stop it. And that's most likely that circulation that we were noting there up into the Wisconsin area is now kind of sinking down here into portions of, let's get the right warning here. There we go. This is the current information for this warning. But the area of circulation just outside of Galena right now is where we're seeing that. Bellevue to your northeast, but there is a notable circulation there. So I'll take the radar data off, and so we can kind of give you a layout of this warning. And there we go. That's that new warning. So this includes Stockton. This includes northern portions of Carroll County, who unfortunately you just saw a tornado last night as well. Elizabeth, the route Highway 20 corridor there. This is going to be impacting you right now. Near Scales Mound is where that circulation is being noted right now. So I'll go put that back on, and you can see what is happening all up and down this line now is we've got the little kinks happening in this line. And so that is exactly what we figured would happen as this thing got going. And so this might, as it gets into northern portions of Illinois, turn into a little bit more of a tornado threat, and that was the concern. But we've got that, so new tornado warning up there, Joe Davies, and also a little portion there of Carroll County. We take a look down again further to the south here into the Maquoketa area, so we continue with that tornado warning until 7 p.m. Most likely, I think that circulation has weakened enough to where there might be a little bit of something there north of Wheatland.
Holding on there.
So we might have to watch that. But the biggest concern right now, you look at this whole thing going on. I'm going to kind of thin things out here a little bit. And I'll point to.
Well, back to that Joe Davies County storm. This storm's going to be around Hanover, Elizabeth, Woodbine, Apple River, Shattville, Apple River Canyon State Park, Canyon Camp, in the Elizabeth Fairgrounds around 6:45. So it doesn't give you much time to make sure you're taking your shelter with that new tornado warning along the leading edge of that storm.
Yeah, what I'll do there to give those folks up there, give you folks in Joe Davies County, we got a lot of viewers up there. We appreciate you. Yeah. We'll get you a time of arrival here. We'll put a path on. Just want to check to see what we've got for movement on this, because
somewhere in here,
moving east at
right
40s.
north of Highway 20 there. And again, same thing happening wherever we get this line. Look at the little blues behind the leading edge where we'd find our spin-up tornado. Those are, as we've seen already, 80+ mile per hour winds moving through the leading edge of the storm. There you go with your estimated times of arrival. Elizabeth, 6:42, Gratiot, 6:50, Stockton, 6:54, past 7 o'clock, West Point, Cherry Grove, Shannon. That's down in northern Carroll County and on to the east from there. But again, these aren't typically supercell tornadoes with this kind of scenario. We've got that leading edge, and I say this all the time. I almost get sick of hearing myself say it, but think of yourself as standing about shoulder deep in a swimming pool, and you're pushing water to splash your friend. Well, as your hand moves through that water on either side, you get those twirling eddies. You've all seen them if you've ever done that, and that's kind of what's happening here. We get the strong outflow, the strong winds coming on the leading edge of the storm, and every now and then we get these little swirls, these little eddies, and some of these can be mostly counterclockwise, but some can also be clockwise, which is a little bit rare, but it happens. And that's that's the thread along the whole leading edge of where we're seeing these storms right here. Not to mention the fact that we've got the heavy torrential rains with these storms, so this is not something that is really easy for spotters to see. That's why we're getting into the detail here with the radar. Kyle's
okay, we got a big time severe thunderstorm warning that is going to set sirens off across QCA right now, and there is definitely a radar data issue here. Look at that, whatever is happening there with those reds. But what we'll do is we'll go back to, I'm going to take the radar data off just so we can look at this warning. But this is a destructive tagged for the 80-mile-an-hour winds. This takes it into the Quad Cities. This takes it into the northern portion of the metro. All of Scott County now is under that warning here. Clinton, all of Whiteside County as well. This is a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. I'll get kind of move away here so we can get that information and show you. Tornado possible tag on this as well. Here we go, folks. 80-mile-an-hour winds. This is for Carroll, Clinton, Jackson, Rock Island, Scott, and Whiteside counties here until 8 p.m. 80-mile-an-hour winds, destructive potential, and again, tornado possible on this as well. So it looks like we might ride with that, the tornado possible, and maybe instead of that tornado warning. Nonetheless, take this very seriously, as 80-mile-an-hour winds will do some major damage.
And yeah, so that warning, that newest warning, that extends already to the eastern edge of Carroll and Whiteside County. So that covers the eastern edge of the TV6 viewing area up north of Interstate 80. So that just goes to show you how fast these storms are moving. And that means that if you've got any outdoor activities planned south of I-80 in our counties that have yet to be touched by these storms, probably want to cancel those, postpone them, because you will be under warning soon enough as this whole line of storms, and it's making that very infamous formation of the inverted C. It's continuing to move east now with a little bit of southeastward movement. So this is why I say there won't be any county in the TV6 viewing area that doesn't go under a warning tonight. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I have a feeling I'm going to be right, and we hope that it's a severe thunderstorm warning versus a tornado warning. But right now it looks like the severe thunderstorm warnings are going to be bringing the worst weather, because they're going to be bringing such widespread heavy winds. I mean, we're talking about 80 to 90 mile per hour winds at their peak, that everybody's going to be probably within a mile of some kind of damage, be it a tree down or a power pole down or some other kind of destruction from these winds or damage from these winds. And there you can see, there's Eldridge, there's the radar site at the airport in Davenport, south is the metro, and there is the leading edge. And again, while we're looking at this right now, let's give Kyle a second to find something. Let's, if we can, go to Skyview, Owen, see what we've got coming toward the coming toward the neighborhood, as we would say. And yeah, you can still kind of see it's still far enough away, but we're getting a little bit more definition on that shelf cloud that will be coming our way through here within about the next, I'd say half hour or so, because the leading edge is in southeast Cedar County, just about ready to get into northwestern Scott County. It's already getting through northern Muscatine County, and when we can get it a little bit more defined from our Skyview, we'll certainly show you that. Back to Kyle at the radar.
Yeah, so if you're in the metro, just joining us right now, you're hearing the sirens are now sounding. We can hear them going off right now. That is your cue to, now is your time to move into sheltered now. This is a dangerous situation for the metro Quad Cities specifically. We got a lot of areas that are going to be impacted by this, but I know a lot of people, a lot of people live in the metro. So to give you an idea of what time we're looking at this for the metro and other communities as well, to your northwest here, that's where the most destructive winds are. And unfortunately, it looks like at this point, we're going to see kind of a beeline here for the metro, but still a lot can change here in that time from there to when it impacts us. But right now, and then we'll get back to that tornado warning too up in Joe Davies County. But here we go with times of arrival. So you're hearing the sirens going off now. What is that for? That is for a destructive storm. We've been talking about this really all day, that the potential was there, but 80-mile-an-hour winds and tornadoes possible within this. DeWitt 705, it's going to be there momentarily, and then the Quad Quad Cities about 7:30 in the metro.
Yeah, we'll see how that time runs, but put that little pin in your mental bulletin board there around 7:30 for the metro. That might be a little bit late depending on the speed of these storms, but again, that's what our computer is working with right now. But you can see this line bearing down through portions of Cedar County. So Scott County is next, metro now mostly under a severe thunderstorm warning, and that's why we've got the leading edge of those strong storms heading our way at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. Kyle?
Yeah, I'm going to zoom back in here to the Calamus area where we've got reports of a rotating wall cloud now, and this is just outside that tornado warning here. But going to see if they're going to continue with that tornado warning for Clinton and Jackson County here, so that continues on. But we'll put the velocity product or velocity scope on here.
This almost looks like a little radar spike too. So but you know, let's take our spotter's word for it. Now, was that spotter or was that from the weather service?
That's through the weather service through the chat. So either an emergency manager.
You see the little spike here? That would be bad data. Yeah. I'm not sure where you say closer to. Not Clarence, but
Calamus was where that was located. Okay. So one thing to note, though, look at this. Folks, how hot it is outside. When we see hail cores develop in these types of environments, it just tells you how intense this is. So, and of course, that's the storm that continues with that tornado warning. So that's something that here, you know, if you're in the Maquoketa area, Welton, DeWitt, you're not technically under that tornado warning, but close enough where I think it's probably safe to say just take your tornado precautions. Same deal up towards Preston right now, so that continues off. I'll slide up Eric here to the north as well to give our friends up in Joe Davies County some heads up because this thing continues on here.
Leading edge near Stockton now, closing in on Stockton.
Yeah, it is, and I'm going to kind of broaden this path out a little bit too. And again, we're putting these times up, but they might change a little bit because this is going to continue to speed up. So I'm going just 5 miles over what the radar is saying for right now, the current speed, just to kind of give a little extra time on that.
Yeah, and I just want to say to our viewers right now, if you're in the storm right now, obviously stay put. We do not want you to get outside and take a picture because you're in danger. That'd be foolish. But if you are in your shelter and you can hear things or you saw something before you went to your shelter, please get on our Facebook page, and you don't have to send a picture, but any information you can give us is extremely valuable. Tell us what you saw before you went to shelter, or if you're in shelter, if you can hear hail, if you can hear the wind, if you can just hear pounding rain. Any little bit of information like that helps, because again, we're only as good to you as the information we have to give you. So if any of you can help us out that way, obviously we don't have reporters up here, we don't have sky view cameras all over the viewing area. We've got you though, and if there's any information you can pass along to our Facebook page, again, we don't need pictures, your words are just as valuable. So if you can give us any reports as to what you've been experiencing so far or what you saw before you went into shelter, we would greatly appreciate it. We really would, because that helps us tell the story to people who are out here, who are waiting to see what's going to happen and wondering, well, it hasn't happened yet. Is it going to happen? And if it does, what's going to happen? Any of the information that we can get from you, we will certainly convey to our viewers who aren't in the storm yet. That's very valuable. Doesn't need a picture. Just send us your words. We would really appreciate it. 2 tornado warnings off to the north there, Joe Davies County, and also southern portions of Jackson County, and mostly concerned about Clinton County, where we're getting these spin-ups, these potential spin-ups. Kyle?
Yes, so just in from the National Weather Service, they're working in conjunction with the Storm Prediction Center to put out a tornado watch here. The concern is in the eastern portion of the viewing area here. We're going to see an expansion of tornadic activity as this continues on. That has been a concern. Some of the newest information that was coming in this afternoon showed that there was certainly the potential there for a spike in tornadic activity as it made its way into northern, north central Illinois, northwestern Illinois. But we're seeing that kind of come to fruition now with that tornado warning there for parts of Joe Davies County. So that is the newest thing. But again, here in the metro, you're hearing the sirens. It's now your time to move indoors and take shelter now, because this is a pretty serious situation. We've got at this point confirmed 80-mile-an-hour winds. Sometimes we've even seen reports of 90-mile-an-hour winds. Eric?
Yeah, and the bulk of the tornadoes we would be dealing with this evening, again, it sounds rather innocent. A spin-up tornado, well, that doesn't sound like much, does it? Well, most of the tornadoes we've had through this 2024 severe weather season have been just that, on the leading edge of these thunderstorm lines. And as you could remember from our news coverage, they do plenty of damage that you don't want to have anything to do with. So if a tornado watch goes out, that's just a sign that these could become more numerous as this line sinks to the south and east. And again, these are the threats that we're dealing with. First of all, obviously, torrential rainfall and the threat for flash flooding. And you can see these green boxes now also in portions of the TV6 viewing area. Flash flood warning for northern Jackson County. Why? Well, look at just what went through it. All those deep reds. That is torrential, intense rainfall. So we're seeing, perhaps by the time these storms are done moving through your area, at least the leading edge where the heaviest rain is, up to 4, maybe 5 or 6 inches of rain potentially. And again, especially around Savannah and points north, remember we call that bluff country, you get a little strip of land between the bluffs and the river. Those little strips of land taking all that water off the bluffs, so they can flood pretty quickly. Tornado watch has just been issued as my QC weather app. I think this was the generic guy's voice, but I'll just use my voice to say that a tornado watch has just been issued for parts of our area. So we'll get on that in just a moment. But again, with the torrential rainfall north of Savannah in the Mississippi Valley, where we've got bluff country, as I like to call it, because it's pretty much the most beautiful areas, some of the most beautiful areas in our wonderful country, that flash flooding can occur right along that little strip of land between the bluff and the Mississippi River. So keep that in mind if you have a cabin or home there, or you are there now. But again, as we watch these warnings continue to expand, there we see the leading edge getting into eastern Joe Davis County. There's Stockton ready to get hit by some strong winds and very heavy rain. Savannah, you're about to get hit as well. It's coming right down the Mississippi River just outside of Palisades Park, probably in Palisades Park now, and towards Sebula, Iowa. Take your shelter because here comes the leading edge of those storms. Bellevue probably getting a really good downpour. Preston, just at the golf course, Preston Hills there not too long ago. You're probably seeing some ponding of the water on that beautiful piece of property. Maquoketa also the heaviest rain right now that you are getting from that leading edge of the storms. And we do have an active tornado warning here too. Not noticing anything too
just a little bit
interesting, maybe a few little wannabe spin-ups, but here's the new radar frame and everything seems to be in order. Just a solid line of wind and rain making its way into eastern Joe Davis County. And again, there's the line right there coming into northwestern Clinton County, kind of looking at something there that's a little bit interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But again, the problem is if they're not that it's a problem to not have a tornado or a spin-up tornado, but right behind the leading edge, these blues indicate what we've been tagging today as wind speeds above 80 miles per hour, and those continue to follow that leading edge.
Yeah, and the one thing that is being noted here, I will say to the north, again, when this, if and when we see this transition to more of a tornado threat, we might see the damaging wind threat, the concentrated damaging wind threat kind of wane a little bit, kind of what we're noticing up here in Joe Davis County. Hopefully that's a trend, but we don't want tornadoes either. But what we're noticing is where we're seeing these circulations form, it weakens those bigger areas of damaging to at times destructive winds. So that could be a good thing, but again, we don't want tornadoes either. So I'm going to zoom things out here. Looks like we've got some new information.
Yeah, they're considering a tornado warning for portions of Clinton County and possibly just east of the river into Illinois. And again, that's...
Oh, I can see why there.
Yeah, there's that little notch right there. There's another one here north of the Wapsipinicon River. And this is probably, I'm looking at some of the pictures of the clouds we're getting, pretty threatening clouds. We have some more pictures. And this is from an IDOT camera. Where was that from, Ann, that we're trying? Okay, right around DeWitt. All right, so this would likely be 61. Yeah, that's probably. I'm not sure which. If we're looking, I think that's the looking north because it takes that curve after the bridge there where they're doing construction, and sky's pretty dark there as weather will be going downhill in DeWitt. We gave you that time around 7, and we're closing in on 7 o'clock right now. So this is kind of what we're dealing with. You're going to see those skies really darken, and oh, that's actually a live shot. Okay, so we saw a car moving north there. right into the storm. Hope they're not planning on going much farther than that. But here's, again, a look at the new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going towards southeast Iowa and then up toward the metro. This includes Des Moines County, Iowa, Henry County, Iowa, not Henry County, Illinois, Henry County, Iowa right now, Louisa and Mercer County, Illinois. And this warning goes till 7:45. Wind speeds 70 miles per hour. Considerable damage tag here. And again, I'll just put this in perspective. Severe thunderstorm winds of 70 miles per hour. All right, power companies consider the first potential for damage at 40 miles per hour. So today, in some cases, we're doubling that and adding 10. So there's definitely going to be some power outages. Maybe we can get somebody in the newsroom on that to join us on the set with any info they might have about that. But we're going to be looking into the power outage situation. Obviously, tree damage, potentially structure damage, which we don't want to see. What we want to see is everybody taking shelter so we don't get any injuries from any damage that might occur. All right, here's a look at all the warnings, all the way from north to now the southern portion of the viewing area. And west central Illinois, you're left, but you're going to get your warnings too. These severe thunderstorm warnings are usually coming with considerable damage tags, tornado possible tags, and that's why they're not run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm warnings. And look at all the green. Again, these are all flash flood warnings following that line of torrential rainfall. We are coming up on 7 o'clock, so it's soon enough for me to say that this is KWQC TV6 Davenport, Iowa. You're watching live storm coverage, and this is going to continue now for the next probably couple of hours before we can get the strongest storms out of here. And hopefully, this first line moves through. Hopefully, because we're getting to the end of daylight and closing in on sunset in an hour and a half or so, and this line moves through, kind of scouring out the energy. Hopefully this will be it. Some of our latest model runs might verify that, and if you could find one of those, I think I've got one of those in the show, an exact track, if you want to find my exact track, and we can just see what if the latest models come down. But again, you know, we're tracking this whole line right here, and as that is the case,
we'll go back to that. There's a tornado warning for the metro.
Okay.
That does include the metro, or at least Scott and
just north,
County.
yeah, Scott County. But yeah, new tornado warning here. Oh, look at this. Now we've got a hail core, so that's going to indicate an updraft. So this tornado warning for Clinton, Rock Island, Scott, and portions of Whiteside County goes till 7:45. So what we need you to do, obviously, is take shelter, because not only do you have large hail, you've got torrential rain, strong winds, and now rotation within that leading edge of the storms. So anybody within this box, and this would be western portions of Whiteside County, from just southwest of Milledgeville all the way down to Joslyn and Erie along Interstate 88, probably just about ready to get in Prophetstown back to the west. That includes Cordova, Clinton, Fulton, Albany, back west toward DeWitt, and southern portions of Clinton County, northeastern portions of Scott County, along the Wapsipinicon, Lowmore, probably very close to McCausland. You need to take shelter now, as this tornado warning is out now till 7:45.
Yeah, we might have a tornado on the ground. I'm seeing something in the in our chat line with the Weather Service, and so I'm going to try to figure out where that is specifically. But this is a dangerous situation. This really got an eye set here on Clinton, DeWitt. DeWitt, your most immediate threat now is going to be moving into the DeWitt area. If you're in DeWitt, move indoors. Take your tornado precautions right now. You want to get to the lowest level of your home, smallest room. If you don't have a basement, center part of the house, closet or bathroom is best. You just want to put as many walls between you and the outside as you can. Folks have been through this several times, unfortunately, over the last couple months. It's been one of the craziest severe weather seasons that we've seen here. Actually, the craziest as far as numbers go. But we are watching potentially a multi-vortex tornado. It looked like that, at least on...
I think this was from Jones County.
Oh, that's from Jones County earlier. Okay,
yeah.
It was mislabeled there. No, it was actually a different one. But but we will, you know, we're continuing to watch that. So again, that's some raw information there. Real quick, Eric, I'll jump back here to that watch just to give an information on our eastern counties about that new weather watch, or the new tornado watch rather, that was issued here. We'll pull that up here, and you can see this is going to be for the eastern extent of the viewing area here as it loads up. There we go. And so this is going to be for Henry County, Bureau County, Knox County, probably laying underneath here some of these watches and warnings that we already have in place. But that tornado watch is in effect here. We'll get get a time on that, but we do have to watch that as well. So again, a series of situations occurring across the area from north to south. We'll stay on this because this gives a good indication of where everything's at. We've got a tornado warning now for Clinton County, moving into the Clinton area. This is also a portion of Scott County and northern portions of Rock Island County. You're under a tornado warning. A destructive severe thunderstorm warning, destructive tag, which means 80-mile-an-hour winds, is in place for the Metro Quad Cities. That includes, again, Davenport over towards, we got portions of Bettendorf, all the Quad City Metro into the Illinois Metro as well. So,
and that time isn't right there. It says 9,
okay,
but it's probably till what, 11?
I would say, yeah, I'll look into that here, but for that tornado watch. But looks like that was issued and does include the Metro too. They put that through the Metro as well. So there you go.
Yeah,
but
I will stand in front of the time in case it's not right. But I know we do things here on the fly, but I will
1
say.
a.m.
1 a.m. Okay, but remember, this is for a system that's moving from west to east. So these counties here will be eliminated first, and maybe by 9 p.m. we can actually get these counties, Clinton County, Scott County, and Rock Island County, out of the warning as these storms move to the east. And as they do that, it'll be the eastern counties of that watch that will expire around 1 a.m. because right now we're certainly not needing to wait till 1 a.m. to get the potential for tornadoes. Already looking at that tornado warning that does include areas adjacent to the Mississippi River in northern Scott County, Clinton, and Whiteside County, as we do have some rotation in these storms. Not only that, but also winds clocked along this line, potentially up to and exceeding 80 miles per hour. So really, you know, if you haven't got the line yet and you're in Iowa, and that's not much of Iowa that hasn't got the line yet, eastern Clinton County, much of Scott County, it's really time to get to shelter. You know, you can take us with you on your phone. We're live streaming on our QC weather app, on our news app, and you also, we're there for you. And Facebook, if you're on Facebook, we're live streaming on Facebook as well. Because, again, not much of Iowa north of the Quad Cities has left to be hit by this line. But here it comes, and if you are north of the Quad Cities and you haven't been hit yet, you are under a tornado warning, most likely, unless you're in, say, central Scott County. That is still a severe thunderstorm warning. But again, it's almost as if the severe thunderstorm warnings are a little bit worse tonight than the tornado warnings, because the tornado warnings are going to encompass very small areas, whereas we're getting this broad line of severe thunderstorm warnings, because if you're in one of those, you could get winds up to 80 plus miles per hour in some spots. Yeah,
and real quick here too, for an area just to the southwest, we've been focused on kind of areas here along the north of I-80, but I want to mention here, because we're getting some reports of maybe some rotation near the Muscatine area, so we're watching this very closely, and I'm going to put a track on this into the southern portions of the viewing area here. We'll slide this a little bit further to the south and east, and if you see your community there, you want to take your tornado precautions. Again, we're treating these like tornado warnings just because of the extent of the wind damage that's being reported with this and the quick spin up tornadoes. But again, it's been pretty solid here between 7:15 and 7:30 on the Metro. So we continue with that, then eventually off into Geneseo about 7:45, and top of the hour into Burlington and Galesburg just past the top of the hour there.
Yeah, just looking at that Muscatine report, this would be northeast of Muscatine, highway, just off Highway 61, and now a severe thunderstorm warning that will continue for that southeast Iowa area. Boy, a train of thought just lost. Guess I'm getting old, but I wanted to say something about obviously the storms tonight. Oh man, what did I need to say? I hate when this happens.
Well, I'll pick up from there and let you think about that.
Sure.
Yeah. So right now here to the west on 80, right now we're watching this storm system here. This line of storms moving in. We got 80-mile-an-hour winds, as you can see there. Radar's got that picked up pretty well. So,
and that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. West on I-80. Let's take a look at Skyview again.
There we go.
What
yeah.
we've got.
Yeah. So Skyview is pulled up, and we can start to see. You know, I know the last what was it? Was it last Tuesday or 2 Tuesdays ago? They're all running together at this point. I think it was 2 Tuesdays ago that we were in the same boat, but there's that that lowering that looks like a as we were.
There's the bottom edge of the shelf right there, and it's still pretty far away actually. So this thing's humongous. We will be able to get a little better definition, say in about 5 to 10 minutes when it gets closer. But you can just already, you can tell there's that just kind of solid gray bottom, but there's the shelf itself, and that's moving our way. So once that gets close, that's Mother Nature saying, hey, time to take shelter. If it's over you, well, it's a little too late by then, because that's when the winds will really start picking up, and you'll get into this torrential rainfall right here. So looking at anything that's
this is interesting. Yeah, because here's the thing, and this happened.
Right
I don't want to, when we talk about the situation, everybody hears the term derecho. A derecho, the term has nothing to do with the intensity of the storm besides it being a severe thunderstorm. So just notate that, folks.
Well, that's another thing too. You see, I almost think, again, there are a lot of Facebook sites out there, and I'll just say scare tactics. I mean, you can't really forecast a derecho because things change, and a line of storms like this evolves as it moves. You've got to get 240 miles of west to east travel to make it a derecho, or whatever direction it's going. It's got to be 60 miles wide. So if this just gets to the east of the metro, or east of the TV6 viewing area and starts to fade away, it will not be a derecho. So when you see that term coming across social media, please take it with a grain of salt. I saw that all day today. The timing of the derecho, and when these storms started, I went back to that Facebook page and I measured it. That wouldn't be a derecho. So just don't get caught up in derecho terminology. Get caught up in severe thunderstorms, possible tornadoes, damaging winds and large hail. Get caught up in that, because that's more specific, and that will be more specific and meaningful to your area if that line of storms happens to come your way. And that's why we have all these warnings out here. We've got the tornado warning that continues for extreme eastern Joe Davies County, this tornado warning that includes anywhere from northeastern Scott County through much of Clinton County, even into Whiteside County, Illinois. So this is what you really need to be focused on, not the term derecho.
Yeah, exactly. And but to that point, one thing I'm noticing here was something that did happen in August of the August 2020 derecho, and is what we saw is with that what we were talking about, that inflow jet on the back end of it, is you don't just see the winds real quick and then it goes away. We're noticing this pool of winds. Look at that, back all the way to the west. They're going to stick around for a little bit here. If this is making it to the ground,
past Iowa City,
that is a question in place, but they're still warning for these too, all the way out to the west. So look at that, Iowa City, you're still under a warning. They haven't trimmed that back yet because of that concern. So this is not going to be just a quick minute gush of wind and it's over. You might see some of those damaging to destructive winds for maybe a longer duration, maybe up to 15-20 minutes in some spots here. But you'll notice it's not concentrated over one specific area. It's a little pocket. So this happens a lot of times is people will say, hey, I had a warning, didn't see anything. Well, these are a little bit broader. We're not, unfortunately, the science isn't good enough to pin down to your neighborhood specifically and say exactly what's going to happen, but you're close enough to it to be taking shelter, and that is a concern. But what I'm noticing here is just to our north and west, that's a big concern, Eric, here is that pool of damaging to destructive winds. But here is another concern I've got, something else I've been watching here. I'll let you get a break there. But one thing we're noticing here is
I'm fine. I'm just
okay. Gotcha. Getting. I think the AC is not working again.
Yep, that's it. Don't let me take. I'm taking off my jacket now. A lot of people are going to just freak out. No, it's just because it's the hottest day of the year and our AC is not working in the studio. But yeah, there you go. We got not only the wind along the leading edge, but as Cal's mentioning, behind it, still feeding in some strong winds from the backside of this storm. Look at that. So there we have this right on Interstate 80 right here. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, that is I'm pointing while you're looking at that. I'm going to be moving sky view here to show that, because
if we can go to velocity on that.
Yeah, we'll go to velocity here real quick. Give me 1 second, folks. Do not take the sky view because it is going it's going wild. But
panning crazily.
But we are looking off to the west, and we're gonna have a good view of this. What we could be seeing here is what would be a concern for me is this is that typical quasi-linear system or type of deal here. Now it's gonna be hard to see because we're so close to. Oh yeah, this actually picks it up when we look at the storm relative velocity. I would say right now, if you're in Davenport, you need to take your tornado precautions right now. This is a developing tornado. This is just to the west of the Weather Service.
Could be.
An area that has been like the tornado magnet of the Quad Cities, Northwest Boulevard, northwestern portions of Davenport. That is a developing circulation there. So I would say that most likely, based on at least what we're seeing right now here, just to the east of Walcott, that looks very concerning.
Yeah, Maysville, way up Northwest Boulevard. It's
right down
time
I-80.
to take shelter right now.
If we could go to the Northwest Boulevard I-80, she's calling it up right now. When you get that, take it, because we'll have a good view of this as it moves in. But that is very concerning signature there, Eric.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you know, traffic cams are usually pointed down at traffic, so they're not going to give us the best view, dark sky. But you can see a little bit of a difference there in the flow of the air. So let's go to the camera anyway, see if we can see anything. Yeah, it's one of these things where we wish we could just tilt that up and see what we can see, but can't do that. Obviously, though, pretty ominous skies for what you can see under that banner right there. Yeah, it does become rather ominous. And if we could go to our sky view camera as we're pointing that to the north and west, again, oh, good, wow, that was, thankfully we had that timing of the lightning bolt to kind of illuminate what we're kind of losing here, the bottom of the cloud versus the shelf above. So there's Central High School.
There's a tornado warning for the Metro.
And they just decided to put a tornado warning out for the Metro Quad Cities. So now is the time to take your shelter. There you go. We all know it's probably my phone. I should probably turn that up, but I don't know where it is. Okay, so yeah, now we've got the Metro Quad Cities involved, tornado warning. There is the circulation right there. And it is moving south and east. So this is going to be, there's Kimberly Road right there. It's going to move down that little northwest to southeast notch of Kimberly Road. And then where Kimberly Road goes to the east, straight east, we'll have to see what it does from there. But right now, this would put it on a path probably pretty close to or just south of North Park Mall, maybe far enough south of Kimberly that we're talking between Kimberly and Locust, if it is moving in that kind of southeast path. So you can see obviously it's not in a great population area right now, but the streets do become more dense as we get West Davenport. You should be taking shelter right now. Possible tornado coming your way. It certainly looks that way on radar. I don't believe we have any spotters or any eyes on it right now, but it's a pretty strong circulation. That's why we now have the tornado warning in effect. And the details on that tornado warning, let me get you that as we look at the warning going till 8 p.m. And that did not only take up really the bulk of the metro, but I'm sure this is going to be going into adjacent areas as well. So tornado warning for Henry, Mercer, Muscatine, Rock Island, Scott, and Whiteside County. And this tornado warning goes to...
If we can go while we're doing this, is there any chance, guys, in the booth that we can do
8 p.m.
Some sort of double box with Skyview and then the chroma key, just so we can show, because we've got several areas that look like they're developing circulations, and if we can't do that, let's just go to Skyview.
Yeah, it's a little muddled, but I mean
it's there, yeah, and there's another little area that I'm watching here too, to our due west. I think, just given the situation, everybody at the station just kind of be on standby in case we have to move to shelter, because this is a situation, folks, you know, everybody in the Metro Quad Cities, this is including, there we go, and you see that one area, Eric, there to the west does look like it is something kind of forming there, but
maybe, yeah, chroma key me, or put that behind me, and I'll, perfect. I don't know that we're looking far enough north. There you go. It's a little bit better view right there, but let's see, I've got a close in the one monitor I have right now, so that's why I'm kind of on the edge here. Literally on the edge, because I'm sure if you're at home right now with your kids, you're wondering where the heck is this thing? Well, that's what we're trying to find right now, but it does appear to be just in the northwest loop. I mean, that's where I-80 and 280 break off as 280 heads toward Rock Island, I-80 heads east toward LeClaire or west toward Iowa City. So right in this area here, looks like that's where our circulation is. Go to reflectivity really quick, or take that off, and let's see where the leading edge of the storms happen. happen to be if you go back to reflectivity. Yeah, that's that little notch right there. We've been talking about this already a few times. Ooh, no, yeah, new radar scan, and that drops it even a little farther south. So it's moving more southeast as opposed to east-southeast. So that takes a different path now. That put it just over Westlake Park or just north of Westlake Park. Now it's going to be moving to the east of Interstate 280, West Davenport here. If it maintains that trajectory, it goes just west of the downtown, but heads more toward downtown Rock Island. That's if it maintains this course. So, but you see all the red? You're in a tornado warning. If you're in the Metro Quad Cities, especially south of I-80, extending into Illinois, take shelter now. If you are near 280, take shelter
Skyview,
now.
there is a tornado now just to the west. We saw a brief power flash. We just saw a quick power flash.
Let's take Skyview.
Let's take Skyview there, and then you could see that right there, Eric. That is that little protrusion there. There's a power flash and a little area of concentrated dust just underneath that. So that is the area, and that's that circulation there that you had noted there. But right there, this is there it is again. There's that power flash right there. So yep, right. Looks like right there, and then right here is where we're seeing that.
There's the power flashes.
Probably a little bit, a little bit harder to see. So we're looking to the west. This is heading towards the station.
This area right here, we're getting a little bit of a difference in the leading edge and some power flashes here. And again, this is pretty much along and just east of 280. So if you're, and I know there are a few mobile home parks out there. There's some houses that have a lot of real estate between them. But if you're out in that area, Westlake Park and south and east of Westlake Park, you should be in your shelter now. There's downtown Davenport, downtown Rock Island right there. If this maintains the trajectory it's been taking between radar scans, it's going to be probably pretty close to Lake Potter, south and Sunset Marina there, southwest of downtown Rock Island. But that remains to be seen. It's kind of a minute-by-minute thing. And there you go. We're seeing right there some lowering. And again, when we bring into play the heavy rain, this is what spotters hate too. Heavy rain makes it very hard to see the right detail. But yeah, this is the shelf cloud now coming into the Quad Cities metro area, and we are looking somewhere in here. Looks to be the most disturbed portion of that cloud, and that would be one of those spin-ups, one of those notches that we talk about and showing on radar. But this is what it would look like, you know, to the naked eye. And there, of course, we're looking. Boy, this looks so much like the other night, doesn't it?
It's so
a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we're looking down the Mississippi. There's the shelf cloud right there as it branches down toward, or probably now just east of Muscatine. Halfway between here and Muscatine. But yeah, somewhere in here is where radar is indicating that there is certainly rotation. Whether that's extending to the ground or not, kind of hard to see at this point.
Yeah, and right here is where we've noticed that a little bit of, we've seen some power flashes. And again, it looked like it was a little bit of a lowering. These could be very quick spin-ups too, so that's why it's...
Let's keep that angle right there.
Yeah,
Get enough grounded so we can see if there is a power flash.
Yeah, and you can see that.
Certainly see some lightning.
Oh yeah, and you can see that kind of northern extent of the right on the northern part of that screen there. Right here. You can see that movement. It does look like there's some rotation going on there, but
it's really hard to tell.
It is hard
from this far out.
I was going to say you're especially on that monitor. But what we can do is I'll pan this to the west because we're going to see this big push of dust, as we always see as it goes through that industrial area. Yeah,
it's going to be right. You'll notice a lot of dust here. Probably some a little farther, even in West End, right there too.
That's a lot of dust.
Yeah, the time a few weeks ago on the Sunday when we had that storm move through, we were at the River Bandits game, and man, we saw all kinds of dust, not only kicked up from southern portions of West Davenport, if you will, but also this western portion of Rock Island there, as Kyle has mentioned, the industrial area. And yeah, so visibility quickly dropping. Pretty soon our sky view will be useless because the rain will be inundating it, and it'll be such heavy rain. But again, we haven't said this in a while. Tornado warning in effect for the Metro Quad Cities. So make sure you take your shelter now, and make sure if you're farther east in the eastern metro or east of the metro, make sure you know where the kids are, make sure you know where the pets are, make sure you're heading to your shelter in just a few minutes. Here comes the rain, and this again will start giving our visibility a real real challenge here from Skyview. So here's I-280. Let's go here looking south on I-280, and looks like they're already, of course, getting the heavy rain. There's the Memorial Bridge there that goes over the Mississippi. This is at Rockingham Road. So yeah, this is you would be right over here for the CPKC Railroad Yard, and of course this way 22 would head you to Muscatine. But so we're looking south on 280, and the rain's getting starting to pick up. Also getting. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Let's go Skyview.
Wow,
Sky.
yeah.
There it is. There it is. Right there.
Let's get, it's right there. We had another big power flash over here. So let's just hang out. There's another powerful. Oh, look at this one. Wow.
Wow.
That thing was. That was major.
This is incredible winds, or maybe even a brief tornado, but the destructive winds are so spread out right now.
This
is a serious situation, folks.
And that's why we'd notice some flashes over here, then flashes over here. If it was a tornado, it'd be one specific area. This is a little bit more widespread, so this does indicate that these winds are coming in very strong into the western sections of Davenport as we're looking to the west now, and every now and then you're going to notice a few flashes there. And there you can kind of see the visibility going down as those winds blowing out of the storm are carrying the rain with them and mixing that up. It's very perturbed air, so our visibility is dropping, but the one thing you can see are power flashes that indicate at least the presence of strong wind, if not a small tornado.
This area, Eric, here, right here, where I've got pointed, it's going to be hard to see, but there is a very notable circulation. I could kind of point it out here if we come out.
We're looking north here.
We're looking due north, and that is, I'm looking at radar, and this is very notable here, right in this vicinity here. Can we come back out to, here we go.
Yeah, let's go to radar.
And what we notice here is within this area, I've got pointed right here, there is a circulation going over northern portions of Davenport. You see that camera shaking this?
And that's why we're saying any place in Davenport, anywhere in the metro, take shelter now, because these things along that leading edge could go from place to place. Kyle?
And certainly the case. And what's also happening here is, regardless if it's a tornado or straight line winds, it's tearing through the infrastructure of the city right now as we're seeing numerous power flashes. This is a very dangerous situation that's moving into the metro. I'm going to point this to the west. You can see that leading edge there as that continues to now move into Bettendorf. Yeah, or to the east, excuse me. Bettendorf and to Rock Island, Moline, Shelter. Now, I'm going to continue to swing this around, see if we can see anything here. But this is a dangerous situation moving into the metro.
We're just getting the wind hitting the station now. We can hear the building rattle.
That right there. So here into...
looking downtown Davenport ahead of you straight.
Yep, and so there we go. There's downtown, and visibility is absolutely zero. We've got inundating rainfall. Heavy rainfall moving in, and you can see the sheets. Look at that. I'll stop it for a second, and you can see that wind really whipping in here, and just torrential rainfall moving in. And so, as you mentioned, Eric, we're going to soon lose visibility completely here. But I'm very concerned about this area just on the northern side of Davenport. Again, anybody and anywhere in the metro right now, shelter now, shelter now, shelter now. This is a very dangerous situation. I'll go back to radar because we're starting to lose definition. We really can't see anything with that. But we'll go back to radar here in just a second. There we go. We continue with this tornado warning. There is 2 tornado warnings now here.
If you zoom in, let's take that at the wall. If you zoom into the airport area, North Davenport, there's a little notch up here.
That's several of them, it looks like.
Yeah, well, there's one right there.
Yeah, that's northwest of preemption.
So, yeah, that's Western Rock Island County. So again, we told you were in this tornado warning, so you need to be taking shelter. But if you go up here, looks like where you were seeing the power flashes, there were there was a little notch or something. It looked somewhere maybe that was it, but it looks like we're using a different color scale here on this, but or a different pixel ratio. But this is where we're seeing the power flashes on Skyview, and this is northern Davenport. There's Veterans Memorial Parkway right there. Got my finger on it, and there's I-74. So yeah, this would be north of 53rd toward Veterans Memorial Parkway, where that would be tracking. But yeah, look at the oh wow, look at that rotation right there.
That one, yeah.
There's the red away, green toward radar site up here, so you can do the math. There looks to be an embedded tornado right there between Reynolds and Taylor Ridge. Again, this is an area that has been under the tornado warning. That is a really impressive signature there. So approaching Highway 67 in central, that west arm of Rock Island County, well south of Milan. But rural areas here, nonetheless, we've got Reynolds, Preemption, Sherrard. You folks need to take shelter now. Certainly coming up on Sherrard, we've got the golf course out there. So yeah, if you're not in the clubhouse right now, you might be in for a really bad time. Orion, if everything, and I wouldn't say this is moving east toward Orion. Again, the movement generally here is going to be southeast, so preemption and adjacent areas along 67. You really need to take shelter right now. This is really by far the most significant notch that we've seen on this whole line all afternoon.
I think this is one of the most significant I've ever seen. Just given that is a hook echo if you've ever seen one. This is rough timing, folks, but anybody if you see your community here or where you're located at, Preemption, Milan, I don't know what Quad City is. That might be
that's the airport, probably.
The airport, okay. Cole Valley, Orion, Andover, also Preemption. Out towards the I-74 corridor, this is a very dangerous situation. I'm going to put correlation coefficient, which is the debris tracker, and they're starting to see some blues.
Something there, yeah.
Sprinkling in there. But
let's get in here and let's get some streets.
Absolutely. I'm gonna get that in.
But that is a really impressive signature right there.
Yeah.
Again, we're looking at southern Rock Island County around Preemption and
Taylor Ridge.
Yeah. There's preemption there. There's 67 coming from the Quad Cities. This rotation just back to the west of that over Reynolds and moving to the east. So again, this warning for Sherrard as well. So you all need to take shelter in that area. This would probably be moving to the southeast at about, what are we looking, 40, 50 miles per hour?
Yeah, they're still going with 45 on that, or 40, excuse me. I'm working on getting some information here, but this is a very dangerous situation. This is not a quick spin up tornado. So 45 is what they're going east at 45. But this is one of the most impressive signatures we've seen in this embedded line. The problem that we're going to have here, folks, is you're not going to be able to see this at all. It's going to be completely shrouded in rain, and there's so much moisture in the air that this is going to be extremely difficult to pick up. I'm going to go real quick. I just want to real quick here in the metro, and let's scan things from north to south, because we can see those destructive winds are now moving through. I'm not noticing the circulation, maybe a little bit of a circulation right now here over the river towards Riverdale. But nonetheless, look at these winds. I could bet you we're going to pixel some 60s. There's 68, so 70-mile-an-hour winds. Most likely that's making it to the ground. Yeah.
Circulation.
I'll zoom back down. I'm going to take real quick before we go back into that tornado warning. I just want to take a wide view, make sure we're not missing anything here. I'll take the products off, and there you can see right now we've got multiple tornado warnings right now for Clinton, the Clinton area. This is moving into town now, but the most notable circulation is this intense circulation just to the south of the metro. Look at that. That is just incredible stuff.
Yeah, rural Rock Island County, just along Highway 67 south of the Quad Cities. You need to be taking shelter if you're in Preemption or Sherrard especially. And I think, does Viola come up next down that way? Viola then eventually over to New Windsor. If this is moving southeast, it's going to be near or on you shortly. So you need to be taking shelter as well if you're in northern Mercer County.
Yeah,
There's
so
Matherville, close enough to take shelter.
Yeah, and this is just we're going to pin just the just that circulation possible tornado here. I'm going to kind of do it this way and just get some cities and areas that are going to be impacted by that. So there you go, folks. Right there, we've got preemption. Now is your time to be in shelter. You need to be in your basements now. This is a very dangerous situation. This would be, given that signature, Eric, this bodes more well for a kind of on the higher end type of tornado when we see these very strong circulations like that. Sherrard 730 roughly, Swedona 738, Orion 740, Andover 747, Cambridge at 753, and then eventually off into central portions of Henry County here. But this is a very dangerous situation.
Let's back out and loop that so we've got the direction kind of confirmed. Again, it's started up this way. It's been dropping.
Fast.
Boy, it's popped up so fast. It looks like, yeah, it's just going to be covering the bottom portion of this warning box, and so you pretty much nailed it on where you were timing that out. But there's Woodhull. If you were to go west, you'd get into New Windsor on the other side of the freeway there, and then off toward Viola, which is now showing up on the map as we drop it a little farther south. So close enough. Woodhull, New Windsor, I would be prepared to take shelter. New Windsor might not necessarily be in the warning box, but you're close enough. Woodhull kind of at the tail end of that box, as is Cambridge. So we're talking about a lot. Wow, that last frame was very impressive, but we're still holding on to this circulation here. What are we looking at? Well, we're looking at this little, you know, they look like a 6 here at Channel 6, ironically, but they look like a 6, and it's that portion that's coming back toward the radar site, the the circle of the 6, if you will, that we're looking at somewhere at the top of that little inner circle there, which is where we would have the rotation, a tornado. Not any reports of it being on the ground. Not sure where our spotters are, and could be because of the rain. You saw how quickly our visibility here at the station went down with the rain, but it's right over Highway 67 right now, just north of preemption, but in that whole area is where you need to be taking shelter. Kyle?
Okay, real quick here, just to give some updates on power outages. We got over almost 10,000 people in the Quad City Metro without power. We're getting reports of power lines and possibly some power poles down on Brady Street here in Davenport, which is most likely what we saw as we were reviewing Skyview to the north. We saw all those power flashes as that was moving through. So lots of power outages being reported. This continues to be a destructive storm, but right now, obviously, our focus is on this potential tornado. So Illinois Quad City is now over 1,000. So major power outages as we expected here in the metro. This is now moving east, but continues with this very well-defined circulation. Hook Echo moving right towards the Woodhull area eventually. Gosh, you just don't see that very often here.
Yeah.
But really, Sherrard right now, it's about to be over top of Sherrard.
Yeah, just looking at my ring cameras near Kimberly and Jersey Ridge, and I tell you what, it looks like a hurricane's going through there. But yeah, this is some very impressive circulation. Might want to try correlation coefficient now to see if we can get debris.
Look at that.
Look at that.
There.
Yeah,
yep.
Right there. Yep. That is debris. That is the radar picking up things that are different than raindrops and small particles of dust or such. Right there would be elevated, perhaps, debris. I mean, that's what this product does. So this would be tree limbs, plywood, boards, pieces of wood, anything and anything that could be blown around from a tornado. And to see this, this clearly from the radar site north of the Quad Cities all the way down to preemption, that is really, that is, you need to take this very seriously. So if you're in Sherrard or just south of Sherrard, it looks like we're detecting debris on the radar. So that means we would have a tornado in contact with the ground, or a tornado, because the debris is being sucked up into the air. So that is ground contact right there. And that is moving to the south and east toward areas from Sherrard and just south of Sherrard in Illinois, south of the Metro Quad Cities.
Yeah, this is definitely, look at that, look at the swirl.
Yeah.
It's right there.
Yep.
Sherrard, this is going to be, I bet you, this next scan that goes through. Unfortunately, these continue to speed up. So Sherrard, this is going to be moving into town if it isn't there already.
Swedona,
Griffin. Orion.
I don't think Griffin actually exists anymore. It's an old township, but yeah, if you're north of what used to be Griffin to Swedona to Sherrard, you need to be in your shelter right now. This is bearing down on you. We've got debris. That means that we have a tornado, and it is moving southeast, probably at 40 to 45 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's over Sherrard right now.
Right now
it's over there.
Sherrard. Weakening a little bit in terms of the reflection, but nonetheless, we still have that circulation. And this is the tornado warning that is in effect. I can't remember how late, but we're at 7:30 right now. I think it was going to 7:45. 8 o'clock. All right. Thank you for that. So 8 o'clock for Mercer County, Southern Rock Island County, and adjacent points to the west, I should say east and southeast, as we're looking at a tornado, likely a tornado here on radar.
And here's an indication. Look at this. This is a product called shear rate.
Yep.
And look at that, is pinning it right there as well. And 60-mile-an-hour shear this far away from radar is pretty intense. So,
yeah, it really is.
So when we see that, it's a rotation product that picks it up, but it's still a very dangerous situation. Yeah, might be even strengthening a little bit.
Circulation is still very definite on the radar, so that's what we have this kind of radar for. Not only to see what the rain is doing, but also we just showed you a couple other products that show where the circulation is, and they can pick up debris now too, debris aloft, which indicates a darn strong possibility of a tornado, darn strong likelihood, I should say, of a tornado. And as we time this out, Swedona 7:36, so it's about 2 minutes away. New Windsor, which we were talking about before, 7:39. Orion 7:40. Orion probably a little far. Maybe I'd still take shelter in Orion, but there you see the ETAs of this potential tornado.
Okay, look at this here in the eastern portion of the metro. We got another one developing here near Silvis. Look at that right there. That is significant winds, but on top of that, I would say we've got an inflow notch over Silvis right now. So 70-mile-an-hour winds over Moline right now, 72-mile-an-hour winds. But they're just to the northwest of Kelowna Kelowna, there is a strong indication of a developing possible circulation, maybe a tornado. This is near east, or in the East Moline area, heading towards Cleveland and Joslin at this time.
We've got crazy wind and rain over the station right now. That's all we can hear on the roof. But again, radar is showing this little inflow notch right here, not quite as strong as the one that we have down toward preemption moving out. But again, still something we need to look at very carefully. Not really getting a very definite sign of debris with that, but certainly the circulation leads us to believe that there could be at least a funnel cloud, a lowering of the cloud, possible tornado, spin-up tornado near East Moline and Silvis as this rides out this warning box that extends all the way into Henry County, Illinois.
I'm going to look up here. We have in Whiteside County. I'm just not, the reason we haven't really been going up to this area, folks, you do continue under a tornado warning. I'm just not seeing the circulation like what we're seeing here in the metro. We're getting picking up some of those vortex signatures going south here. Damaging wind threat continues for Monmouth over towards Oquaca up to Aledo. You folks need to be taking your shelter now. But the most significant situation is, look at that right there. It's continuing on. Orion, this might be kind of scooping back up to the northeast. Yeah, I'll put this in motion here, and then we can see.
And there you have the Metro Quad cities, visibility down quite a bit because of the intense rain. But it's that reflection of the rain that is giving us the chance to see where we're getting this spin now well east of preemption, maybe moving a little farther, closer to due east now, because this is going to be just south of Orion. But if you're in Orion, you should be taking shelter now. This is going to cross I-74 south of the Big X all the way down to the Woodhull Alpha exit. And again, we're not only looking at the wind around this to be about 80 miles per hour, but we're looking at that circulation that was literally picking up debris based on our radar signature, a product that's designed to find debris. So very impressive that we would get this along that leading edge. Lightning is all over the place. Much like last night.
Look at this. This is so telling right here. Look at that surge that happened, unfortunately, right over top of the Metro Quad cities. This was the concern, and this is what we're seeing come to fruition.
Yeah, where that yellow starts right here, and just that is a lot of wind being generated by this storm that's blowing out of the storm, such that it's picked up by radar. But ahead of that, there it is, that little notch of rotation that we're seeing just south of Orion on the way to crossing over I-74 and getting darn close to Andover now coming on the map. As we get this into Henry County now, it's right on the county line. Yeah,
what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put a broad path on this because this is really intensifying, as was expected. And we'll take this east. I'll put a little southeast here too. I did speed it up a little bit, so timing might give you a little few extra minutes here, but still, nonetheless, these are when we expect this storm. It's one thing that's not really a good thing is this is moving through at kind of a little bit quicker than what was some of the models were expecting. At Princeton at 8:30, this is going to be.
It looks a lot like how ExactTrack had with that second line forming from the Metro southeast and toward Iowa, or southwest back toward southeast.
Exactly,
Iowa.
But you'll notice here right now. We'll take, if we could come out here to the monitor, I'll show you this core of destructive winds from right now, roughly, we'll say from Joslin down to the southwest here towards the Aledo area. But Cambridge, you're next in line with this. We're getting reports of a lot of power outages already out ahead of this line. In the Orion area, we're getting reports that power is out in Orion. Here's the deal, folks. As this gets closer and closer, if you haven't already, download the KWQC app, the QC Weather app, Facebook. We've got our live stream, live coverage there, and YouTube as well. So you could take us. You could also go to KWQC.com. We're streaming this coverage over there, so you can go to shelter. And if you lose power, we've got that as well. But right now, we continue with this tornado warning with these embedded circulations. These are the times of arrival. Kewanee about top of the hour, 8 o'clock, 7:57 in Atkinson. Geneseo here momentarily. Geneseo, you're next in line for this destructive storm.
Yeah, let's take radar full. There's something I want to do really quickly here as we come over this way back to our circulation. Yeah, let's get back here.
Doing that. I'm going to check here. Just to note here, they've upped the wind to 90-mile-an-hour winds now. So we are up to 90 on the winds here within this storm, and really centered on the metro here into Henry County. Wow, I'm looking at this. We continue with that circulation too, as you're pointing out there right now as well. So that is that shows up. I'm kind of going up the line here. Kelowna, this has moved through just south of Coal Valley. There is a pool of about, look at that, 90-mile-an-hour winds right now just outside of Coal Valley. So
I'm timing out that circulation that we have, that potential tornado. We did see debris with it. Galva 805, Kewaunee 810, Tulane 818, Wyoming 824. Take about 5 minutes off of each of those times. That's when you need to be in your shelter at the latest. We were clocking this at about 40 to 50 miles per hour. So we've got this out at 50 miles per hour for our ETA cone. And you can see how it covers southern Henry County, northern Knox County in Illinois. Yeah, this is getting pretty close to the eastern edge of our viewing area here. Of course, we've got to cross through Bureau County with all this storm activity and our southern counties as well. But again, the most impressive in terms of potentially destructive return or reflection we've seen is right here, this little spin. That's caught up debris in the atmosphere, so that's what we want to make sure you're taking heed of if you are in front of that particular part of the storm.
Yeah, I'll put, obviously there's so much lightning with this. That is certainly a concern, but I'll back things up, kind of slim down the radar and just so we can kind of get a broad view of what is going on, what we've got happening. But the most significant portion of that is that rotation. You look at this line here. I'll even move it up just a little bit more.
You know, and while you're doing that, I just want to say Exact Track had that northern portion of the line right here, and it then developed the southern portion of the line, which is another one of those inverted C's right here. So Exact Track pretty much had at least the shape and scope of this system nailed. Now it's getting up to 7:45 soon. We'll see if we can get this out of here by about 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at the absolute latest, and I think we'll be able to do that, Kyle.
Yeah, just want to give an update here because this is some pretty significant numbers. 16,000 customers in the Iowa Quad Cities without power and 7,900 in the Illinois Quad Cities. So this is a kind of shows you here how destructive this is and continues to be. But most significant, really two parts here. But the what's kind of called the apex of this line is moving right through the heart of the Quad City Metro.
The junction here,
yeah,
thankfully, is right over the metro for much of our population that watches us, but that doesn't mean anything to the people north and east or south and west, where you're getting the brunt of these two lines of wind. Now, had a lot of power outages last night, but I think this power outage situation, obviously, Kyle, is more progressive because these are stronger storms.
Yeah, and then what we saw last night was a much smaller area was covered by this. So this is a much broader area that we're seeing. We still continue with that circulation, but as this unfortunately pulls away, we'll put the storm relative velocity on here just to kind of see. But we continue to see some circulations within this, not as strong as it once was, but look at that. Now we're seeing tornadic vortex signatures pop up all up and down this line, which is an indication that there is some intensification going on within this right now. But look at that, pretty solid here. Almost half the county, Henry County, is pretty long as far as mileage goes from north to south. That's a big area of real estate that's about to get into some 70 to 80-mile-an-hour winds here moving into western Henry County. Geneseo, you need to be in your shelters right now.
And Cambridge as well, because again, see, we've got that little notch. It's still showing up, maybe not as prominently as before, but it is still there, and it seems to have taken its southeast movement. Oh yeah, it's still looking pretty good on reflectivity, looking pretty dangerous, I should say. It's taken that southeast movement and started to move more east. So Cambridge, central Henry County, get into your shelters now because this is on you. I wonder if we do a CC on that for debris.
I will, real quick. A new tornado warning here for Bureau, Henry, and Whiteside County. All of Henry County at this point is under a tornado warning, and this is also going to be for western Bureau County. I do want to note too, we're getting reports of maybe a confirmed tornado near the Andover area right now, and that would certainly make sense. There is a little bit of a drop out here, so if you're in Andover up towards Orion, eventually Cambridge, Atkinson, Geneseo, take your immediate tornado precautions right now. This is a credible report coming from one of our colleagues here that there is it could be a confirmed tornado with this here near the Andover area at this time. I'll zoom into street level and we can get some roads on this, but yeah, right here just outside of Andover is where we're seeing that notable circulation, and not only that. Yeah, but look at these. I bet you we're going to see some look at that. 90-mile-an-hour winds right now, folks. Tornado or not, this is a destructive situation. Hopefully nobody's traveling on 74 because this west to east movement, that wind will knock you right off the road there pretty easily. So
yeah, of course, that's right there on Highway 150 that comes south of Orion down toward, eventually down, I believe, close to Galesburg. But as you see that reflection, that's just an indication of very strong rotation, as we've been noting on the rotation portion of our radar. So the warning has been extended. There was the edge of the eastern edge of the first warning, but now, as Kyle just mentioned, we've got that warning now extending all the way into Bureau County for that potential tornado, and there looks to be perhaps a little bit of elevated debris here, maybe behind the system, but that does make sense because we're dealing with outflow, very fast outflow at the lower levels, so any debris that's wafted aloft is just going to sit there until it eventually falls out of the cloud.
Yeah, so right there is where, and that matches up perfectly.
Yeah, there it is. There's the debris. So if you're in Andover, you better be in your shelter right now, because if there's a few minute delay on this radar, that could be over Andover right now. It certainly looks like it's pointing to Andover, and that's where we have that report. So we continue this in Cambridge, the county seat of Henry County, I believe, is in the path next. So
yeah, it's heading right towards Cambridge. What I'll do,
and eastern areas east of Cambridge.
I'm gonna go 55 on this just to kind of give us. Let's go up a little bit further here. Just to give it out so you can see here at Cambridge, time of arrival. This is a small box, but it gives some of these smaller communities a chance to get into the box here. Cambridge High School and Cambridge itself, 750. So you've got 4 minutes before this is going to be impacting you. So take your tornado precautions right now. It looks like it is over Andover right now. Again, we were getting reports of maybe a confirmed tornado, and certainly that's the case with what we're seeing right now here on our radar product as well. So it looks like some debris has been lofted into the air right now. So a dangerous situation continues here into Henry County. We continue with that dropout. Now it's an observed tornado. So this is an observed tornado. His Weather Service is confirming that report that we just passed along here moments ago. There is a confirmed tornado with this now. So if you're in Andover over towards Cambridge, excuse me, Andover to Cambridge, you need to be in your shelters right now. Take your tornado precautions. Get to your shelter right now. Do not delay with this. If you're, as we mentioned, we're streaming right now on Facebook, on our website, on YouTube, and those are great places to take us with you, take your phone with you as you head to shelter. But right now, this is a very dangerous situation. We're noticing that debris signature here on radar. This tornado warning continues until 8:30 for Bureau, Henry, and also portions of Whiteside County as well, Eric. So this continues on, but Cambridge notably right now, this is getting ready to move into town. Update there, still there, that circulation definitely there over top of Andover. Seeing a little bit of a delay in one of our products here, so I'm going to try to
yeah, we have that tornado warning that's just been issued till 8:30 for Bureau, Henry, Whiteside County. That is in the southern portion of Henry County, but it includes extreme northeastern Henry County and northwestern Bureau County. That is a tornado warning, observed tornado, as we were talking about. And again, now, as we also mentioned, these tornado warnings do extend into western Bureau County for that rotation that we have near Woodhull.
Yeah, I'd like to note,
along I-74 and 150.
Yeah, and Eric, I'd like to note too, we kind of got a broader warning with this because what's happening is, you see, we got that main circulation that we're watching near the Andover area, but this is notched out. So Cambridge up to Atkinson, we could see circulations all up and down this line here. That is the concern. So you got
another one there, north of Cambridge.
Yep, north of Cambridge there. You've got just probably over Geneseo at this point here too. A little bit of a notch forming. Yeah, so just to the west. This is these quickly
very
evolve.
Small. And some of these are really hard to see, but you can see kind of.
My goodness.
There's one north of Geneseo. Of course, our main one down here south of Cambridge. Again, to be taking your shelter, because that even in Cambridge, the line of wind and rain just about to hit. But you can see that these winds. Whoa, 105. 100+ mile/hour winds bearing down. That's why we're getting such a strong outflow spin-up circulation. That notch is so very impressive. But yeah, that darker yellow right there, that is south and east of the Big X near Orion. You might get a tail end of that, maybe 90 mile/hour winds for Orion, but some of these were registering up to 105 in that dark yellow right there, just to the east of I-74. And those winds are right on the way to Cambridge, or very close to Cambridge, maybe just north of Cambridge. Cambridge, but also there we still have our circulation right there, our rotation right along the county highway there is at 79 south of
19.
Cambridge.
County Highway 19, that's where it's over right now. Yeah.
White pixel there made it look like a 7, but yeah, south of Andover to Cambridge, that line south of that's where we have our circulation, and this has given us a history of debris, so we're pretty concerned about that, as you should be in central Henry County right now.
I'm going to quickly too, you know, we've been focused on this. Folks, you need to continue with your tornado precautions. We do have storms down to the south, and I'd like to mention these have been kind of more your typical severe thunderstorm warnings.
Right.
We'll get the information on
but
this.
Anywhere along that line, see how they have tornado possible. That's where we could get anywhere along that line, these little inflow notches that spin, and right now looks to be causing a tornado just south of Cambridge, Illinois.
Yeah, so for this severe thunderstorm warning with that 70-mile-an-hour winds, Galesburg, it's about to hit you. So if you're in Galesburg and Knox County, take your tornado, or actually, yeah, go ahead and take your tornado precautions because you're close enough to that.
Yeah, probably on Story Lake right now.
Yeah, then also eventually to Fort Madison, and you got areas out into the Peoria area, but Abingdon as well, you'll be in the path of that. So severe thunderstorm warnings are currently in effect as we go look to the east here for most of the viewing area at this point east of the river. Right now, I do want to mention the Quad City Metro, we are almost out of the most significant portion of the storm. So if you're in the metro, if you're in the Iowa side of the metro, you can go ahead and move out of, thanks Teresa, you can go ahead and move out of shelter now if you're in Bettendorf and Davenport, anywhere in Scott County. The most significant portion of this is now to your east. Current update here on the Quad City Metro power outages, 17,000 in the Iowa side and 14,000 power outages just in the Quad City Metro. Think about that, that's pretty significant. But we continue with this observed tornado here. To the north real quick as well, just those severe thunderstorm warnings. These are moving out of the viewing area, but from Sterling Rock Falls down into central portions of Henry County, we continue with this observed tornado warning for Bureau Henry Whiteside County until 8:30.
All right, let's take a look at the whole line. Let's widen out so we can give everybody a view of what we're looking at here before we go back to that Henry County circulation. Sterling and Rock Falls already past the leading edge, and it looks like Joe Davies County, Jackson County, much of Clinton County, except for Eastern County, really things are improving quite a bit. Also Cedar County and Muscatine County out of the worst of that these storms have. Still some very heavy rain, strong winds in Loiza County over to Henry County, Iowa. Well, also Henry County, Illinois for that matter, but Des Moines County, Iowa as well. And these storms bearing down on southern portions of Henderson and Warren County, Knox County, including Galesburg proper. You have yet to get that hit from that line, although it's probably Story Lake now. Do we have it? Was that a new tornado warning that just popped up there?
No, that is that. Just an adjustment on that one. It's out of the metro now. So,
all right.
So again, the metro.
You can see it was shaved out of the metro.
Yeah, we're slowly seeing things.
Caught that out of the corner of my eye, and it looked like it was almost a new warning. But even in that warning, it looks like the leading edge of the storm is past most of that. However, as Kyle was pointing out earlier, behind the line itself, we still have some very strong winds around here behind the main line itself. But ahead, we still have a lot of lightning there in red that's blocking out the view. But still, look at this core of yellow here. Those are extremely strong winds. We're just clocking those in western portions and southwestern portions of Henry County, nearing perhaps 100 miles per hour. But that is also, if you're in northern Knox County, along 74 north of Galesburg, but north of I-74 east of Galesburg, that's all headed right into that section of Knox County. So those are strong, damaging winds. Had a report that we might have had some siding off a house in West Davenport as those intense storms move down through. Looking at northwestern Illinois, things are getting a little bit better, but still, where in the green you have these areas of blue starting to minimize. That's good news, because that means the overall wind threat here behind line is finally starting to subside. But ahead of it, we still have eastern portions of Bureau County. I'm sure your warning is coming. Just hang on. And then we've got portions of Knox County. If we move a little farther north, we can see our southern viewing area.
I switch your signal.
Or if we move a little farther south, I can see, yeah, we can see our southern viewing area, and we're still behind that lower third a little bit. But there you see Des Moines County, Burlington past the leading edge, but you're still going to get some very strong storms. Southern Henderson County, southern Warren County, leading edge still has to get your way. You're all under severe thunderstorm warnings. By the time it gets to southeast Knox County, that's pretty much out of our viewing area. But boy, the northern portion of the county still going to get that blast of wind. And there you see, I think we've got a little bit of a data error right here with what's going on. Such intense data. Looks like it just got fixed. Yeah, but look at these winds here. Those darker yellows, that's what we were clocking to be 100 miles per hour. 97, pretty darn close in the southern portion of Henry County. So Galva, get ready. Kewanee, you're still in the path of all this. Neponset, Mineral, all of Bureau County pretty much still in the path of these very dangerous storms. And unfortunately, this is the heaviest wind we've seen all day long. And that is quite an area full of these strong winds between 90 and 100 miles per hour, moving generally to the east-southeast toward Galva and Kewanee. So again, you pretty much run out of time in Galva. You need to take shelter now. Kewanee, you've got a few moments, but I would take shelter now, because by our next radar scan, that's going to be probably cutting that distance in half between the leading edge and Kewanee, at least cutting that in half. And Galva, you're probably going to be under that radar or under that leading edge by the time we get our next radar scan. So this is when seconds are crucial. Please take your shelter now.
Yeah, and what's concerning here is I've been putting these on all throughout this area, picking new areas. Nothing's changing. We're seeing these consistent 90-mile-an-hour winds. That is a huge area that's going to be affected by these destructive winds. This is an area that unfortunately last night saw some damage from a considerable damage, severe thunderstorm warning that moved through, caused a lot of power outages, trees were down as well. This is going to be moving over that same area. So here's another concern, folks. Not only is this a higher end deal with just the intensity of the storm, what also is happening is we got wet ground from the storms that we had yesterday, so you're going to get more trees to topple as a whole, because
power lines as well.
And power lines, you get those power poles to fall quite a bit easier because they got weakened by stuff that happened yesterday. Not
or
to
they're
mention,
sitting in very moist soil.
And sitting in very moist soil as well. So you'll see a much bigger issue here than just that. But still, with this, a very dangerous situation here continues now, and we do have a new tornado warning now for Knox County. This includes the Galesburg area. This is a very large tornado warning. So Galesburg, you're now in a tornado warning, and all of Knox County at this point. Also, I know we do have folks out in Stark County as well. You are under a tornado warning as well. We'll see if we've got anything confirmed with this one. This is just a radar indicated, just same situation though, folks. These spin up very quickly, but you'll notice here too, on top of this almost extreme winds that we have going on here into Henry County, if you're in Galva and Kewanee, cannot stress to you enough how serious this is. Also up towards the I-80 corridor to Atkinson, Anawan, you need to be in shelter as well. Eventually into Bureau County, here the Mineral area, Sheffield as well. But what we're noticing here with this is not only that surge of wind, but look at here what's going on is we got these little pockets right there, little kinks in the line. And this is something you don't want to be messing with, because that tornado threat certainly is there, but also the potential for, not the potential, we're seeing the destructive winds. Getting reports of too, want to mention this as well. If you're just joining us, maybe you're here into the metro area right now, what we're seeing is a very serious situation with a lot of power outages. It looks like in total right now about 25 to 30,000 customers without power.
All right, back to our storm coverage here. Again, we have that patchwork from north to south of severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings, and this is what we've anticipated all day long. Every county is being affected by this line of storms, and the Storm Prediction Center really had this nailed with the highest risk going right through the TV6 viewing area. So there you see the newest tornado warnings that extend east, because not only are we getting that current little spin, we're getting the strongest winds in this part of the storm. So that could lead to more spin-up tornadoes, and there you see those yellows. This is where we've been measuring wind speeds at least of 90 miles per hour toward 100 miles per hour in some spots. So if you're in Henry County down through Knox County, also perhaps southern portions of Warren County, you're kind of in that corridor of the deepest yellows, which means the strongest wind speeds, and you need to be taking shelter if you haven't already. If that storm hasn't passed by you yet or passed over you yet, this is your moment to take shelter, because we're almost almost getting that most intense portion of the line out of much of the TV6 viewing area. We've got southern Warren County, also much of Knox County, and then all of Bureau County to get through. But again, these are the storms that we've been anticipating all day, and they've really delivered in terms of wind speeds. Some of the reports I'm getting on social media include some siding off and certainly plenty of trees down. But look at this right here. That deeper, darker yellow there, Nakoma, north of Nakoma, in west of Bishop Hill, 102 mile per hour radar estimated winds. Is that exactly what's happening? Might be off a couple of miles per hour, a few miles per hour, but that's still an indication I don't think I've ever seen
I haven't either.
from the Davenport radar. Bishop Hill, now on the leading edge of the storm crossing you by. There's Galva, again, leading edge of the storm, getting right over Galva now. And there's that next radar scan that crossed from the leading edge of the storm about halfway out toward Kewanee. So, of course, Kewanee, you need to be taking your shelter absolutely right now, as well as Weathersfield and those adjacent areas of Henry County, no doubt about it.
Yeah, this is, and then I would like to mention too, Eric, is just based on this information, the National Weather Service is confirming, they're saying up to 80 to 100 mile an hour winds out here in Henry County. This is a very dangerous situation. A very widespread destructive situation is about to unfold here for you folks out into eastern portions of Henry County. Also, again, Knox County as well. We don't forget about you folks. We're watching this, and I would say the most significant portion is moving through Galesburg right now, but to your north and to your east right now, that's where we're noticing a big surge in winds. Northern parts of Knox County here, so the Oneida area, eventually off towards, right now, it's moving into Altona as well.
Moving into Bishop Hill.
Bishop Hill, over Bishop Hill at this point as well. We'll slide up there. And look at those. When we see black, that's data that the color table only goes up to a certain amount, a certain level. And we're kind of seeing that hit its max here.
Yeah, and that's a roll through Andover and really kind of brush Cambridge. I'd hate to hear of damage reports from there, but I'm sure we will hear of those. And if we go down again a little farther south, that yellow continues to spread to areas west of Galesburg, as I think you were mentioning. So that takes us into Warren County. There you see, again, maybe not as strong as on Highway 34 there between Monmouth and Galesburg, but in this area here, we're probably looking at, well, nearly 90 mile per hour winds there on a widespread basis. So at least 75 or so. There you see that. 80s. Yeah, this is just an enormous amount of wind that's coming out of the front end of the storm. And this has been the strongest portion of this whole line of storms this afternoon and this evening that we're seeing right here. So now that it's just after 8 o'clock, I have to say you're watching live storm coverage on KWQC TV6, Davenport, Iowa. Davenport itself now behind the worst of the storm, but boy, it continues to spread out just to our southeast. There you see through Henry County, getting into Knox County, Illinois, also teasing portions of Mercer and Warren County, Illinois.
Yeah, and right now we're going to take a look here. I'm going to put some of the stuff back on that we had off here, but we continue with this tornado warning. The most significant thing here is Bureau Henry, Whiteside County. We continue with this tornado warning. They just backed it off of the, we don't have the considerable damage threat, or excuse me, the observe tag with that, but we still, you want to treat this very seriously and take this very seriously, folks, as this is a serious situation moving into eastern Henry County. Backing out, though, what I do want to say, a little bit of good news. I'll put the reflectivity back on here, which is the rainfall, how heavy the rain is, and kind of strip things down. And it looks like the Iowa side of the river, including the metro Quad Cities, is now void of any storm activity. There is some development here to the northwest that we have to watch out. But for the significant damaging to destructive storms and those tornadoes, the most significant portion of this is now exclusively into our Illinois counties, with the exception of Burlington and Mount Pleasant. You folks still continuing with that storm down there, but man, Galesburg and to your east out there, places like here in eastern Knox County, that's going to be, let's see here, we got McQuan up to the kind of the 74 corridor, that's moving in, but most notably here out of this whole line, and also noting Sterling Rock Falls, but we haven't seen much in the way of circulation. In fact, I'll go back to that velocity product, and you can see we're not seeing those deep, dark yellows. Still could see some damaging winds, don't get me wrong, but you see have a much different picture here, really centralized from the I-80 corridor in Henry County down into the Galesburg area right now, continuing east, almost a little bit southeast now.
Two things surprised me, and that is one, that we haven't seen as many flash flood or more flash flood warnings than we've seen right now. Those are all north and west of the Metro Quad Cities. And this too surprises me, as we're clocking winds around 100 miles per hour for portions of the storm as its leading edge, and just behind its leading edge, moved through Henry County, Illinois, now down into Knox County, Illinois. Also portions of Warren County, Illinois, where those winds are still incredibly strong. Princeton, nothing yet, but the warnings are closing in on you. Just to the north, a severe thunderstorm warning. Just to the west, a tornado warning. And there you can see where we have the yellows. This is actually the leading edge of those strong winds, and maybe a little bit of a circulation there popping up just south and east of Roseville, Illinois, just getting into the southern portions of Warren County. Looks a little interesting. That we'll have to keep an eye on that, but that's almost going to be off toward the south into McDonough County here in the next few minutes.
Yeah, so Prairie City area there, north of Good Hope, southeast of Roseville. Go ahead and take your tornado precautions. But folks in Monmouth wondering what's going on here. Unfortunately, you're having this severe thunderstorm move through, but one thing that we're noticing here is the more significant winds. Get reports that the sirens are going off in the Monmouth area. And I'm going to tell you this, folks, the sirens are going to be going off in all communities with these types of warnings. This is a very high-end deal. One of the ones we don't see these typically. So you're definitely seeing that with any of these warnings. But if you're in the Monmouth area and southern portions of Warren County, continue with your precautions. Stay indoors. Not a bad idea to take your tornado precautions with that. But in Bureau County, let's focus on eastern Henry County, southeastern Henry County, and portions of Bureau County, Knox County as well, as that is where we're watching the most significant portion of this line continuing to move through. I'll put some new times of arrivals on this.
Yeah, and as of 8 o'clock, no surprise here, but tree damage in Galva, Illinois.
Yep, and we were watching that, unfortunately, walk through town. So we're going to kind of have a little bit extra time here. But everybody that's going to be popping up here on this outline doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the most significant portion of this, but you're definitely in at least a severe thunderstorm, if not a tornado warning. You can see some of the times of arrival here. Kewanee, you have no time. You need to be in your place of safety right now. If you're in Kewanee, this is moving into town as we speak. And the most significant portion of this storm is going to be moving right over top of Kewanee and also up towards the I-80 corridor just east of Cambridge. Let's look at this update here, because wow, this is impressive. Let's take radar full or go to Eric, because look at right over top of Kewanee. That is an impressive inflow notch there. Holy cow.
Yeah, it really is. So this would be something that we've been concerned with right around Kewanee, or points north and west. 107-mile-per-hour winds diving south of Kewanee, and that means that up here to the top, we've got winds coming back toward the radar screen, so that's where circulation is going to be. And again, that's right over Kewanee. We've been mentioning Kewanee here for the last few minutes, that you need to be in your shelter. Neponset, Osceola, get to your shelter now, because with, again, this kind of outflow, the spin, the vorticity that we would get with any spin-up tornado would be absolutely stunning for what these spin-up tornadoes would be. So we could be seeing, you know, perhaps EF1 speeds here, closing in on EF1 as opposed to EF0 strength. So again, if you're in Kewanee, you need to be taking shelter. The road between, well, that's Highway 34 up toward Neponset, and especially north of Highway 34 or northwest of Highway 34, need to be taking shelter right now.
The tornado vortex signature here.
Vortex signature showing up.
Yep, I was going to say northwestern portions. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but northwestern portions of this area here, we're noticing that tornadic vortex signature a little displaced here, but that's there's a little delay in that. So if you're in Kewanee here, this is I hate to go street level because this is such a large event, but just so you know, on the latest scan, which could be a second or two behind, this punch of destructive winds is now moving into Kewanee.
And it's really aimed at Wethersfield. I mean, if we look at these deeper yellows here, 100+ miles per hour perhaps, this is just storming into Wethersfield right now, no pun intended, but there you go, 110-mile-per-hour winds. So yeah, this is, I think we're certainly from the Metro Quad Cities south and east, exponentially the damage reports and the damage significance is likely to go up as we drop into Henry County and eventually northern Knox County.
Yeah, look at this report, 112-mile-an-hour winds. This is near County Highway 5 right now. So this is now moving into town, and folks, you're going to be in for a rough ride here for the next probably 20 minutes or so here in Kewanee. So let's take this into Bureau County, where this is is heading. So this circulation, that little kink in the line, also northwestern, just northwest of Toulon there in Stark County. But I'll put a path on this and take this into Bureau County. There was a new severe thunderstorm warning, destructive severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Bureau County. So folks off into Princeton, you're probably going to hear the sirens going off here very soon, and also into areas like Spring Valley as well. Tisqua, you folks are now in that warning. But here's the current path. I'm going to take this back just a little bit so we don't get some of those, excuse me on this, as we don't get some of those communities kind of far outside of our viewing area.
Yeah, we've got some radar data up here. Nothing going on in much of Bureau County, but we do see that yellow shading. That's the severe thunderstorm warning that Kyle was just talking about. Some of our ETAs include Toulon at 8:13, Mineral 8:10 for the leading edge of the storm. That's what Kyle is clocking out right now. So again, this is when your weather likely really goes south. And Mineral, I mean, it's right on you. 8:09, 8:10, here it comes. You can see that leading edge right there underneath our ETA box. On to Wyoming by 8:19, Bradford 8:23, Princeton there at the end. But again, Bureau County is our last county to go under a warning. And yes, indeed, that does mean that every county we have in our TV6 viewing area has been warned either with a tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning today. And Princeton just kind of waiting for the leading edge. But again, the strongest winds, you just kind of see them blowing out of the storm here. Southern Henry County into northern Knox County, and then back south and west along this whole, and you can see the Weather Service nailed it with this severe thunderstorm warning box. Even through Galesburg now. I'm not sure if we have any webcams. Yeah, we do. We've got railroad webcams in Galesburg, but nonetheless, I would be interested in seeing what those winds are doing there right now. But again, we're still looking at this potential circulation right over Kewanee. You hear us say it, green next to red. The reds are so strong, we're going over to the yellow scale right now, and there's that shear marker, 97 mile per hour shear there.
That's a decent tornado.
Yeah, that's. Do we have any? Can we CC there, see if we can get any debris?
Yeah, I was just going to do that actually, because that is my concern with that.
Little far out, but
yeah, well, it's going to be. It's looking like that. We're getting too far up in the clouds to see anything. But here, the way this is moving, I'll put this in motion. We could see the evolution now really surging. Look at that. I'll take the tracks off, storm tracks off, and here, southwestern portions of Bureau County. Now is your time to take your precautions. Mineral and Sheffield along and south of I-80. I'll go quickly, quickly, I mean really quickly here to the north, real quick, but Neponsit, that's what I want to make sure. Neponsit, Mineral, and Sheffield should be taking your immediate tornado precautions. But up here in Sterling Rock Falls, the whole threat, we haven't been focused on this area, but there's a reason why. The threat has been very minimal in comparison to what we're seeing out here into Henry County. I'll quickly look at some winds up here in northwestern Bureau County, and we're just closely approaching that severe thunderstorm criteria. That's why we haven't been too concerned with that, but still, nonetheless, dangerous storms moving in. But here in Bureau County, this new warning. Let's take a look here at this new warning that has been issued here for Bureau County. So there we go. Destructive tornado possible. 80-mile-an-hour winds is in place for that. So that is for all of Bureau County. If you're in the Princeton area, you take your tornado precautions right now. But we continue with the circulation. Getting ready to move into.
What I'd like to see, and I'm telling this to our booth, maybe some traffic cams along I-80 between Geneseo and Anawan, or even east of Anawan, and they're going to look for some there, because I'm sure with those winds we would be seeing, if we could see anything in the heavy rain, we might be seeing at least some trees really bending in the foreground. But that's the core of our wind right there now in southeast Henry County, Illinois, where Kyle's got that queried 100+ mile per hour winds. Just astounding.
I don't think I've seen this in
Osceola, Bradford, Neponsit. Shelter now, shelter now. You need to be in your shelter. Yeah,
so this is continuing to be a very destructive situation here. I don't think you can get it much more significant with the winds as you see here. So 112-mile-an-hour winds on the highest end, just outside of Kewanee, 103 there. So it's so consistent and so widespread. That's why it's such a serious situation. But not to mention here into the Neponsit area, that's where we're watching just to your southwest. That circulation really on the eastern fringe of the Kewanee proper here, moving into Bureau County. This is going to be traveling essentially along the Kentville Road right now. Folks in Bureau County know where the Kentville is, and that is where it is traveling. Right there, actually, is Kentville Road. So
right on it.
So yes, so this is Right now, traveling east, essentially east right now, down the Kentville Road. So if you're in Tisquoia, I'd go ahead and move indoors and take your tornado precautions right now if you haven't already. Definitely, everybody in this warning, you need to take your tornado precautions and get to a basement because, again, while we're not talking about a tornado that might destroy your house, what we're talking about is something that could cause destructive damage where a large tree could fall and hit your house. You don't want to be upstairs on the first floor even with that. So
anywhere in Bureau County.
Yes, anywhere in Bureau County.
Again, and we're not talking about a tornado warning for eastern Bureau County. We're still dealing with this right here, this leading edge of the storm. And you see the embedded yellows. We've been clocking those of at least 80 miles per hour. Some of these yellows indicate winds toward 100 miles per hour. But anywhere in Bureau County, you don't need a tornado warning to get yourself into shelter because the leading edge of this storm covers the whole county. And that is a complete
Observed
coverage where, now we're looking at observed tornado. But again, you just need to be in shelter right now because these winds are screaming in. It doesn't have to be a tornado when we're dealing with winds this fast. So this particular warning goes for Knox County, again, down here, and Stark County till 8:30 p.m. So that's about 15 minutes out. But again, we're dealing with radar signature, the likes of which we haven't seen in quite some time, if ever. Thank you, T. Appreciate it.
We're getting reports of extreme, this is the report right now, I'm quoting this out of the chat, extreme winds in Kewaunee, many lines and many limbs down right now. And we're certainly seeing that. We're also getting a report of a confirmed tornado now moving into northern portions of Stark County. It might be here kind of riding that Kentville Road area. That's where I'm noticing the most significant circulation. And we just got a whole smattering of tornadic vortex signatures which show, kind of verify those circulations where we're watching them. So continues to be a very dangerous situation here now, moving into the Neponset area and also northern Stark County. So Bradford over towards the Toulon area, you're seeing those destructive winds now, but this is a confirmed tornado moving into southern Bureau County, essentially riding the Kentville Road.
All right, and let's keep your attention on that, folks, but we're going to at least back out a little bit to take a quick look at the rest of the area that is under the threat of the leading edge of the storm. Now into western Bureau County. Of course, we're dealing with that tornado just north of the Stark County, Bureau County border, but down now, most of Knox County is covered with this storm, but look at the yellows. That indicates winds of around 80 to 90 miles per hour on the slow side, and it looks like we just had a new tornado warning just issued here for southeast Knox County into areas down 74 toward Peoria. And the leading edge has now cleared our southern two counties of Henderson and Warren County in Illinois. But here's that new tornado warning. This goes till 8:30. Is that a new? No, that's
it's a new in the sense that it's that one that is confirmed with a confirmed tornado.
Okay.
With this, so we got that observed. That pink bar turns, or that red bar turns pink there, and that's a sign that we've now have this observed. But very really, that's no surprise that in that little apex or that area that's kind of curling in here just in southwestern Bureau County is the area of most concern at this time. But not to mention here, folks, that's not just the only area that we need to be concerned with. This whole thing now moving into southern portions of Bureau County, still into here the Kewaunee area. This is a long duration event. Look at this. What I'm going to do here, just to show you how significant this is, let's measure this out, because from the leading edge to where we see those winds die out, it's almost 20 miles of destructive winds. That's going to be with you for
about half an hour.
Exactly,
almost
60
half an hour. Yeah, if we're moving at 30 or 40 miles per hour.
Yeah, so about a mile a minute at this point. So think about that. For 20 minutes, we could see up to 100-mile-an-hour winds with this. This is going to be a very serious situation for you folks that haven't received this damaging storm yet. But one thing to know here, in northern portions, a new tornado warning just issued for all of Bureau County,
for Bureau County
and all of Putnam County too. Let's see what this is. So all of Bureau County, all of Putnam County, new tornado warning. This does include Princeton, over towards Spring Valley, Dalzell, up towards Lamoille, Sheffield. You're still in that warning. Ohio, Bureau Junction, Depew. You folks need to take your tornado precautions right now. Tisquoia as well, as we've been noting that circulation here. Certainly kind of riding the Kentville Road, but most significant portion of this is right here, just just outside of the Bradford area.
Maybe CC, see if we can get anything there.
See what we can get with that, but look at that outside of Toulon. Yeah.
and with this new tornado warning issued till 9 o'clock, yeah, look at this 120-mile-per-hour winds being that. The darker that yellow goes, that's the deepest we've ever seen it here, TV6. Yeah, 122-mile-per-hour winds potentially just to the south of Osceola, north of Wyoming, east of Toulon, south and west of Bradford. This here in Stark County. Do want to say that as you saw, the warning for Bureau County goes till 9 o'clock. So potentially we could be off the air around 9 o'clock. I just want to remind you that anything that was on NBC tonight, the presidential interview, perhaps if you're looking for highlights of the RNC, I'm sure that's all going to be on NBC.com, NBC News side of that website as soon as perhaps it's already there. But you will be able to see that online at NBC.com, NBC News. But as far as our night tonight, it looks like by about 9 o'clock, most of the threat should be over, but not necessarily, because again, even if the leading edge gets out of Bureau County at 9 o'clock, we might still be dealing with some very rough weather behind that leading edge, as has been the case here, especially in Henry County. I mean, leading edge now into Stark County, but those winds that are still 90-ish miles per hour, they are subsiding slowly, but those are still in Henry County, Illinois, also back toward northern portions of Knox County, Illinois as well.
Yeah.
There's our tornado warning that goes till 8:30 for portions of Knox and Stark County.
Yeah, and one thing here too, this is certainly turning into a very, this is going to be one of these events that I think we remember for some time, because here's some reports that we're getting right now. Let's see here, this is in the Metro Quad Cities. We're getting reports of damage blocking Brady Street around 37th and the Shell gas station. Looks to be some type of a log or power pole that's in the road. Power lines are at the base of it, so power pole there. Power is out to a majority of the Quad City Metro right now. We're getting reports of major damage. This is the report right now. Major damage in the Kewanee area being indicated as well. So what's happening here is what we're seeing on radar is unfortunately verifying, but you know, folks in southern Bureau County, the tornadic portion of this, while this warning does include all of Bureau County at this point, actually the southern portion, the northeastern quadrant of Bureau County, north of I-80 is not included under that. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning, but Princeton to the Hollowayville, Seatonville area over towards Spring Valley, Ladd, down towards, let's see, Depew, Bureau Junction, Tisqua, you folks are in that tornado warning, and not only is that threat there for that tornado, but maybe some destructive winds as well. To the north, though, if you're north of that, north of the I-80 corridor, we see a pretty significant drop-off in the winds to more of a damaging wind threat. Still something to take seriously, but we're not seeing those 90, 100, 120 mile an hour winds. Well,
that's the thing. You're right. We still want to take that seriously, because where we have these little areas of yellow embedded, those could be quick bursts of wind that kind of fool you, because the thing starts out in terms of this radar, those darker reds, maybe not quite as fast, maybe 50 mile per hour winds, and then suddenly you get that quick uptick to winds near 90 miles per hour, and that's what's going to do the damage as this all moves in.
Yeah, and this is a very intense, I don't think we've ever seen, at least on our radar here locally, we've never seen this type of surge of winds, but easily 120 mile an hour winds being indicated here. Confirming this too with some other products that we look at as well. So not just our, not just First Alert Doppler radar, but of course some other radar data as well. But several areas here near Bradford, right now that's where we're catching this possible tornado. Also into southern Bureau County, kind of riding the Stark Bureau County border, essentially the Kentville Road area. So
yeah, now Highway 34 south of Interstate 80 through Neponset and down to Kewanee, still winds probably picking up here, especially in Neponset as you're getting into that core actually off to the south and west a little bit, but you're still getting these pixelized areas of yellow. That means quick burst of wind up to about 90 miles per hour that's been what we've been clocking with the radar tonight.
Sure, and then so Langley, we got Wyanett is here right there. I don't know why the label doesn't pop up, but Langley, Wyanett, you're about to get into some damaging winds. Princeton as well. You continue with a tornado warning, but at this point, it looks like the circulation portion or the tornadic portion of this is going to be to the southwest of Princeton, continuing in the southern portion of Bureau County here, but also northern portion of Stark County as well. Also into Henry County. This is, excuse me, into the Henry, Illinois area and Marshall County. That is also a concern. Looks like a couple circulations, one one near the Osceola area south of Neponset, and also one here near Bradford right now. So Tiscoa over towards Depew, Spring Valley, Bureau Junction. Continue with your tornado precautions. I want to back out real quick.
Off in the south there.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I remember we were looking at something in southern Warren County, but I guess that's well out of the area now.
Yeah, that has moved out. In this area too, we've been watching some data at the airport down in the Macomb area right now as well, just to kind of keep an idea or keep a close watch on that. And what we're noticing, we're getting severe winds up to 60 miles an hour, but nothing like what we're seeing move through Henry County at this point, as that has been a destructive situation. And I'm very concerned with some of the reports of what we've been told, major damage. Let's see here, power outages, tree limbs, power lines down here in Rock Island County. Lots of raw reports here going on. Damage in Kewanee, of course, but train spotters are reporting several power outages, tree limbs down, gutters blown off homes. This just tells you how significant this was. And I'd like to mention, as it made its way through the metro, that's when it began surging. And so while it was significant over the metro, it was even a little bit more significant as it made its way into eastern portions of Rock Island County and into Henry County. So you folks out here into Bureau County, continue with your tornado precautions, mostly the southern portion of Bureau County. You want to continue with your tornado precautions there. South of
those
Princeton.
winds are really closing in on Princeton pretty quickly. I mean,
Yes.
that's already halfway through the county there.
Yeah, we'll do is here kind of look at some of these. Excuse me, look at some of these winds here.
Yeah, query that.
Yeah, so 66, so 70 mile an hour winds, that's still going to do some significant damage, folks. So even though this is, we're focusing on these 100 mile an hour winds to your south and west, still up all the way into northern portions of the county as well. We've got a significant situation there. So still destructive, or at that point we consider it a considerable damage threat. But nonetheless, that continues here into portions of Bureau County. What I'm going to do now is...
You know, it's interesting. I just want to interject that I've been trying to log on to some cameras in Galesburg, and they are not showing up, and I'm wondering if they are damaged because of the incredible wind speeds they had down there.
Yeah, very, very well could be. So currently right now with this severe thunderstorm and tornado warning kind of duo here, got the whole line tracked out here. This is the leading edge. So Cherry about 8:30 into LaSalle, Peru about 8:30 as well. Illinois Valley Regional Airport there in Peru, that's going to be about 8:40, and then once again over there towards LaSalle, Peru, 8:30, 8:45. So eastern portions of the county, Bureau County here, Spring Valley, up towards Ladd, Cherry, Delzell, you folks will be needing to take shelter here again within the next 5 to 10 minutes. This will be moving through.
And again, you've seen earlier we had a tornado warning band with observed tornado up under our clock there. This one is not, because at this point they're warning because of the possibility of a tornado forming along that leading edge of the storm system that's now going through Bureau County, approaching Princeton, or right on Princeton right now. So although there's tornado warning for Bureau County right now, no reported tornadoes, but that could change momentarily. Perhaps. I'm not saying it is going to change, but again, it's like what we had going through southern Henry County and now into Stark County. Along that line, at any place, at any point, at any time, there could be a spin-up tornado. Nothing now, but you are under tornado warning because of that possibility. That's why it's very important to make sure you're not looking out the window for it. You are taking shelter, and taking shelter now. So what we've got, the strongest storms moving south and east of the Metro Quad Cities continually, but that trailing edge down to the south of Highway 34 continues. But things are getting certainly better in southeast Iowa right now, but still some strong rushes of wind south and east of Roseville in Warren County, Illinois, and that extends through Knox County and now southern Henry County, Illinois, Bureau County as well, as we're looking at those strongest winds rushing out of the storm and the potential for spin-ups right along that leading edge in any location along that leading edge. We go a little farther north. Sterling still into some heavy rain, Rock Falls as well, but things are starting to get a little bit better. Much improved conditions in east central Iowa and even right around and south of the Quad Cities where there's no rain showing up on radar. But even with this wind, this rain, you might still be getting some strong winds. Nothing like you saw when the leading edge of the storm system moved through. But you can see there's one definite area of outflow there, another definite area of outflow right there. Princeton and Bureau County, kind of in between, but in that connection, again, there you see, we're looking at that rotation that's now just getting into southern Bureau County outside of Bradford as it continues to move to the east. That's one of those notches we're talking about, and the rest of the line just kind of falling in from the north and west to eastern Bureau County as we speak, with that warning for the tornado or tornado warning, which includes this spin here. That's what we're warned for in the southern half of Bureau County, that going till 9 p.m. So about a half hour left in that warning.
Yeah, the other thing too that has been an issue, but we haven't really seen any warnings for this, which is good news, but this line did surge as it made its way into the Illinois counties, is absolute torrential rainfall. I mean, blinding conditions, and there were earlier some reports of maybe some ponding on roadways, maybe some flash flooding.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to get at least that.
Yeah, so, but what we're getting reports of now, I would like to pass along this. This was a message that came in earlier from emergency managers. This was reported in Henry County, Illinois. Lots of damage in town. This was in the Cambridge area. Lots of damage in town. Estimates those winds were between 80 to 100 miles an hour. So what we're showing on radar certainly was coming to fruition out there. That was the concern, and certainly we're seeing those reports unfortunately verify, with lots of damage being reported out there. Right now, we continue with that tornado warning here into Bureau County, southern portions of Bureau County. If you're out towards the Bureau Junction area, Depew as well. I would say Tisqua right now, this is getting ready to move into town. We'll zoom into Bureau County here specifically and see what we've got going on right now and where this is. But look at that developing inflow notch there, moving into southern portions of Bureau County. Very, very clearly evident there where that is.
Yeah, anywhere around Hennepin and Point South,
yep.
you take shelter. Definitely now, I mean, from Hennepin and south and west of Hennepin, be in your shelters. Be prepared for that big rush of wind in Princeton, it looks like, too, just bearing down on Princeton itself. But yeah, there's our circulation, and it continues to move pretty much due east. There's Kentville Road. It's always been just a little south of Kentville Road, continues to move that way. What are we looking at? Again, let me give you a quick review. You see the pixels. You follow those pixels. You just saw the sweep. That's all the way up in Davenport. So you follow the pixels back to the radar site. Green, that's the radar picking up particles of air going toward the radar site. Red, that's particles of air going away from the radar site. So in there we have a circulation. But besides that, again, considering the air moving away from the radar site, all that yellow, that's a rush of wind that, as you can see, we're looking at that as perhaps above 100 miles per hour. So there's going to be quite an exponentially rising path of damage, perhaps, from the Metro Quad Cities down into portions of Henry, northern Knox, Stark, and southern Bureau County, Illinois, once this event comes to an end. And it will be continuing to move pretty quickly to the east. So by 9 o'clock, when this warning for the tornado in southern Bureau County ends, we could be out of the woods in terms of any new warnings, at least for the TV6 viewing area.
Yeah, I'm going to give an update here real quick as we continue with that tornado warning here for southern Bureau County. And as we get closer to probably the top of the hour, we might be able to take it back to NBC programming, as this might even make it out here a little bit quicker. But that is where the most significant portion of this is. We're starting to cross into new, we'll be getting into Chicago and Lincoln's Weather Service office here for radar data. But I'd like to mention this right now. A very significant situation is unfolding into much of the area as we have a lot of power outages. And right now in Scott County alone, 20% of Scott County is without power at this point. That's over 17,000 people just in Scott County alone are without power. We look up into Clinton County, not as much. We got 250 customers without power. Dubuque County is one that was hit pretty hard. 13% of the county, close to 14%, 7,000 customers without power. Another area is Louisa County. About 894 customers are without power. Checking Illinois, as we have significant power outages, especially in our Illinois Quad Cities. Rock Island County, about 19% of the county is without power. 14,000 customers without power in Rock Island County. And the one that I think is probably a little bit fresh right now, but we'll see add up pretty quickly, is 2,600 customers in Henry County right now are reporting power outages. That is about 11% of the county. I guarantee that number is going to increase pretty rapidly here over the next hour or so as we get new information. Also, Mercer County, about 20% of the county is without power at just near 2,000 customers without power right now.
All right, let's give you an update. We'll go to radar here on the big screen, and the latest latest running warning we have is this tornado warning right here for southern Bureau County. This goes till 9 o'clock. We still have a few severe thunderstorm warnings along this line that will end shortly here, likely around 8:30 to 8:45. We're past 8:30 now, so some of these will hang on for a few more minutes. But again, you can see the progression of this line. The leading edge now east of Princeton and getting very close to moving out of Bureau County. However, that little tail, that little spin there, still in that southern appendage, that southern portion of Bureau County. So we'll stay on with that because that has been an extremely significant reflection on radar. And up and down the line, you can see that generally our weather conditions have been improving. Some of you are still under the influence of the heavy rain along the leading edge of that line, but it looks like things, at least for the TV6 viewing area, are just about to jump over to not quite as serious, with the exception of these eastern areas where behind the leading edge we still have the potential for winds of 80 to 90 miles per hour, at least some over 100 to 110 miles per hour. But again, as we look at our little butting up here of the green to the red, and yeah, you might want to move that just a little farther north because our lower third is getting a little bit ahead of that, or above that. You can see that in southern Bureau County we still have to get this through the area, and again, this is heading right toward Putnam in Putnam County, yep. Obviously. So you know, areas south of Bureau County are the ones that are going to be under the gun for this rotation here, but that's the rotation. The strong broad area of these incredible winds in the yellow still continues right through the heart of Bureau County off to the east, and then down farther south into portions of Stark County, and maybe a little bit behind into eastern portions of Knox County. There's the warning that goes till 9 p.m. And you know, one thing we haven't seen a lot with this is hail over on this side, but we certainly have the lightning strikes, the heavy rain, and that tornado.
Yeah, I got the hail course turned on here, not seeing anything. Still copious amounts. Well, you know what? Here's why we're not seeing anything, because I got to clear the scope off here, but lots of lightning with it as well. But yeah, really not seeing anything in the way of hail. So, yeah. But again, folks, how warm was it today? It was about 95 to 100 degrees, and it felt like 110 plus in some areas. So when you see that, it does get rather difficult for...
Yeah, freezing level pretty high.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't have used that as a cap to prevent all this. But
right. Exactly, 100%. I do want to pass along continuing reports. This is going to be what we hear all night, folks. This is what we didn't want to hear, but again, we were prepared for it, and we certainly have been first giving you the first alert since I think the weekend. So it's actually since last Friday, really, we started talking about this. But according to Henry County, major highways are blocked off by downed trees. Most of the city of Kewanee is without power. Get reports of a tree on a house. So what we're seeing now is reports of pretty substantial damage here into southern portions of Henry County. Really getting a lot of reports coming out of the Kewanee area. But we continue with right now in the Metro Quad Cities, specifically 17,000 customers without power here in the Iowa Quad Cities, and 18,000 without power in the Illinois Quad Cities. In total, within our viewing area, that's 35,000. That's actually just for the Metro combination alone for Mid-American. So that's just one power company too, folks. We'll look at some others, but it just shows you the power of this storm and how significant it was.
Yeah, now a new severe thunderstorm warning doesn't affect us, but you can see how far south and east it goes, including the city of Peoria. Just how much more this storm system will move south and continue to be a strong storm system for people to deal with, even into the early night hours here, or late evening, early night. We're about a little less than half an hour away from 9 o'clock, which is probably, and I'm not going to guarantee that, but I'm thinking it probably will be when our coverage here ends and we will be able to go back to NBC. We've got some pictures, though, of some of the damage. And again, if you have been getting to our Facebook page and sending us pictures, we appreciate it. Hopefully it was a safe thing for you to do. And any verbal information, you don't have to have pictures, but any verbal information you have from around where you live, any damage reports, we would love to get those. We can relay those to the Weather Service, but first and foremost, we will use those on our news to recap what we had in this event here tonight. But there you see, that's a pretty strong damage from Davenport transport of trees. And of course, you know, trees go down, they take down power lines, and that accounts for some of the big numbers that Kyle has been talking about in terms of power outages across the Quad Cities. Kewanee, Illinois, without power, majorly without power. And that's because some of the strongest winds in this system went right through Kewanee as they moved out of western portions of Henry County, Illinois. So I think, again, you can see right now the strongest winds just south of Bureau County. Here's the border of Bureau County right there. There's Hennepin, there's Princeton. Strongest core of winds right there. But you back that up to the north and west and you get the Metro Quad Cities. So the Metro Quad Cities likely spared the worst tonight, but right after the Metro, that's when the storm really started to push out these incredibly crazy wind speeds. We haven't seen these kind of winds with this kind of duration. I can't remember it in my whole 26-year career here at TV6, but they continue to move south and east of the Metro Quad Cities. And just, I think, from getting into northwestern Henry County to southeastern Henry County in Illinois, there's going to be a big difference in damage, much more the farther south and east you go. And we've already had some words that might be the case. But there you see the two Boeing segments here. This is the northern segment. This is the southern segment. And I was even talking with our news director today about how the model was kind of getting those two segments. And that's exactly what happened. So ExactTrack pretty much nailed this one. Unfortunately, we are having to deal with it. 100-mile-per-hour winds, damage, power outages, trees down, power lines down, probably a lot of siding damage out there. Thankfully, we didn't get the hail on top of it, but we're still dealing with torrential rain. Might not see a lot of flash flood warnings at this point, but if you have a flood-prone area, you're probably looking at ponding on the streets. Maybe part of your yard is flooded. Completely understandable with this kind of rainfall that is about a 20 to 30-mile-per-hour wide band of torrential rain before it even starts to let up. But we're still looking at that tornado warning going till 9 o'clock in Bureau County. It looks like that has passed just outside of the county right now. If we zoom in on that, Kyle, we can notice that I think it's probably more of an issue for Putnam County at this point.
Yeah.
There it goes south of Bureau County, and it's out of the county. It
indeed is. But one thing I do want to mention here too, while this is definitely the circulation portion of this,
still have the wind.
The wind is, yeah, look at that solid color wind there.
Yeah. Now between Princeton and Hennepin and Princeton,
yeah,
right there.
Right there. So there we are up to 70. One thing to note too, folks, this area here, Bureau County specifically, saw some pretty significant damage yesterday, last night with that storm that moved through, as that was a damaging storm. But heads up right now, it's moving into the eastern portion of the viewing area, eastern portion of the county rather, from Hennepin up towards Spring Valley. Get ready. This is now probably moving into town right now. But that circulation, it is weakening, but I've looked, this is just some of the most incredible winds I've ever seen.
I mean, right down here, I would be interested in querying that south of Lacon.
Lakin. Yep.
Lakin, yes. Yes. Chillicothe.
Chillicothe. Yep, there you go. Let's see here. I'm going to get that. Yeah, we'll see what we've got, because that is just...
The more muddy that yellow gets, the higher those winds go above 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, and especially, well, let's get the right product on. There we go. And, yeah, this is just... wow, with 113-mile-an-hour winds here. I don't, so Black Cap, there you go, 130-mile-an-hour winds being indicated maybe near between Lakin and Henry there. So that is a that just tells you how intense this was, folks. This was, as you mentioned, Eric, I mean, even when we compare it to the 2020 derecho, unfortunately, you'll probably see a lot of similarities to this, and that'll probably, this particular storm might rank up close to that as far as intensity goes over portions of the area. Maybe not as widespread as it was with the August 2020 situation, but certainly a lot of similarities came into play. And as we mentioned earlier in the day, really what we have to deal with these types of summer setups, when it gets this hot, we have such large amounts of energy in the atmosphere. These storms really can make an environment of their own, and that's
well, that's the thing. We call it the ring of fire pattern, and we are in the fire today, or we certainly were, with those temperatures into the 90s, heat indexes between about 110 and 115 at their peak. But it's right at the periphery of that where we find the storm track, and that's exactly what we had in terms of a low pressure off the west and a a front draping through the area, and that low pressure riding along that front, giving us these storms based on all that potential energy that it had. Now, the good news to all of this is that we've made it through this, or at least we've made it through most of this as it continues to move off to the east. And behind it over the next few days, I'm not saying tomorrow it will be not a humid day. Tomorrow we'll still have some humidity around, especially one thing, the residual humidity, because the ground is so wet from all this heavy rain. We're going to have a warm day, still humid. It just won't be in the 90s. It'll be in the mid 80s. And our dew points will be gradually going back a little bit into the 60s. They won't be at 80 like they were today. And then by the time we get to Wednesday, it's going to be a whole different air mass that comes through here with north winds. Eventually later this week, we get northeast winds, which might keep some of you with highs in the 70s. Again, a whole different atmosphere than what we're dealing with tonight. And you can see where we have these strong winds in the yellow really standing out. We still have that to get through in our eastern counties. And again, our tornado warning goes till 9 o'clock. We'll probably continue coverage until 9 at the latest. But for the time being, we're still riding out a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings and the tornado warning in southern Bureau County. And if we go back to reflectivity, we can see what we are still dealing with right on that frame right there. And we're dealing with a severe thunderstorm warning here that deals with portions of Whiteside County, Henry County, and really not much of Henry County, Illinois, but also northern Bureau County. And again, the leading edge of that bad weather is already pretty much outside of that warning box. The leading edge of the storm itself outside of Bureau County, but we're still also dealing with that tornado warning, which looks to be gone now. Well, it's still there. It's just lining up with the county border, so it's a little hard to see, but from this far out. Also southeastern Knox County, but you see back off to the far north and west, rain, yeah, but we're not dealing with the kind of thunderstorms that we dealt with an hour or so ago here in the Metro Quad cities.
And you can see here, this is the reason it drops out there is we're looking at a different radar site. This is out of Lincoln, but look at what's happening here. You see those colors not as defined. Unfortunately, the most intense portion of this happened right over top of the Quad City Metro and to the east. And so we're getting reports. I would like to mention too, we're getting some structural damage reports near the Swedona area of some grain bins down, maybe some barns that were damaged heavily. Reports of several, the report was, let me go back to that, was a report of several power poles completely down. This was in the Kewanee area, southeastern Henry County. Getting reports of maybe some structural damage as well into southwestern portions of Bureau County. So that's just some of the reports. I would like to mention that the information flow right now is intense. I'm trying to weave through it as it comes in, but the storm reports are just massive right now of damage reports that we are seeing right now. So this is certainly going to be a situation that we talk about for some time, I believe, as the damage is going to be so widespread here, and certainly is already kind of seeming to be that way. So lots of power outages as well being reported here and into eastern portions of the Metro and to the east as well. We're seeing well over, at this point, at least for the Metro, last check, over 35,000 customers without power.
Yeah, and so right now, if we go back to reflectivity, see what or not reflectivity, I want to see vorticity, or velocity, yes, to see where those strongest winds happen to be. And they happen to now be looking to be moving east of Princeton. So the intensity of the wind is starting to lighten up a little bit, at least those broad scale winds. Again, just south of Bureau County right here, man, we were clocking, what, 113 miles per hour based on radar estimates. You can see the quilt work there of warnings now getting into the Chicago area, at least closer to it. And it just moves along with this line of strong winds really bursting out now through Peoria. Boy, it was just a short time ago we mentioned the severe thunderstorm warning, including the city of Peoria. Now the leading edge of those very strong winds right down there. If you're not doing anything and you're done with us, you might want to look for some webcams in Peoria. I bet those things are shaking like crazy. But you can see still we've got that tornado warning that will continue till 9, and by 9 I think we'll walk a lot of these stronger winds out of eastern Bureau County and even into eastern Bureau County, much farther east of Princeton. We don't have too many viewers. We certainly have a few, even into the next county over, but that will end our coverage because I know there's a lot going on nationally on NBC tonight. And again, the interview that we blocked or ran over with our weather coverage with the president, you can see that on NBC.com. Just go to the NBC News section. And it will also air at 3 a.m. I've just been notified about that. If you want to see the Biden Holt interview, 3 a.m. on TV6, but it's also available likely on the website now or very shortly at NBCnews.com. All right, and again, as we're still tracking the damage, as Kyle is moving again, as I've been mentioning, from the Metro Quad Cities south and east, that's where we're seeing it. Cambridge, Kewanee, also northern portions of Knox County, but Henry County hit pretty hard, especially the farther east you go down towards Stark County. Yeah, that corridor of winds that were around or above 100 miles per hour really started around the metro, just the southeast of the metro, really, and then just continued to just plow through Henry County, Illinois, and into Stark County. So I think that's where we're going to see the brunt of the damage reports, the heaviest damage reports, and the power outages, which include Kewanee right now. So again, as we wrap things up here in a few minutes, we'll be able to walk this line out. There's a look at power outages that could be occurring right now. Storm reports will be plentiful in the next few hours. I don't know where we're at now, if we have the right time frame on that.
Well, we didn't have,
there we go.
Wind was not selected, but yeah, you can see really through that corridor we circled there, excuse me, that where we had that those arrows, and these will fill in. They are on a delay, so they're not instant. But some of these reports,
tree damage, wind damage, hail. I'm kind of surprised about the hail, but yeah, you see the wind damage there. Big trees down. You're going to see a lot of that. Yeah, look at that estimation of winds, 80 to 100 miles per hour, based on the size of those trees. Let's see, measured at the Kewanee Airport, 50 plus miles, almost 60 miles per hour. But wind damage there, and you were talking about this, Kyle. Trees blocking the roads in portions of Henry County. So yeah, this is going to be a mess to get through overnight. And as far as the power outages are concerned, you know, a terrible time to not have air conditioning. This is going to be a very, very muggy night because of the wet ground and all that residual moisture from the ground into the atmosphere. Again, as I mentioned a while back, we'll be cutting down that humidity bit by bit tomorrow. Wednesday will be a nice breath of fresh air, warm air, but fresh air, and we'll start getting rid of that humidity. But boy, if you don't have power now, feel for you. It's going to be a long night. And there you can see some more of these damage reports there. Swedona, we talked about that possibility of a tornado in the barns, and grain bins knocking down a couple of those. Be interested to see what our reports were in the metro, because I see some of those.
Yeah, we got plenty of those. We're kind of circling, kind of going from southeast to northwest here. But yeah, look at the metro. We got quite a few of them here to the south here. Let's see what this was. 67-mile-an-hour winds. Is that the airport there? Is that probably? It looks
to be the airport.
Yeah, so that's going to be the airport out here to the northwest of Milan. 60-mile-an-hour winds. And to note, folks, that was not where the most significant portion of that was. I'd like to see what we've got up here. 55. Certainly we saw a little bit higher than that. But tree snapped here just into Bettendorf, north of Middle Road there, out to, it looks like Brady Street. Look at all these reports on Brady Street here.
Yeah, right.
And so let's take a look at some of these.
Well, this is just north of the station.
Trees blow down at 7th and Iowa. I think some of these, noticing some of these though, are actually from last night, 10:35 p.m. This is from last night's storm. So, last night. Okay. But here to the north, this is tonight, 7:20. Multiple power lines down with, this is that off Brady Street. Brady Street was blocked, at least at one point there. That's getting close to the Kimberly, you get up to Kimberly there with.
Yeah, this is going to mean a lot of power outages, that main trunk line there. Man.
Numerous tree limbs down vicinity of North Park Mall. Tires from an auto shop blown into Kimberly Road. Holy cow. That tells you how significant this was. That was from last night. So just getting kind of poking through the metro here. 6-inch diameter tree branch down with an estimated 75-mile-an-hour wind gust. That was
that's
downtown. Yeah. 7:15. But here's the thing. While we're looking for tonight's reports. You see that some of the same areas that got hit last night, unfortunately, got hit again today, and so that's where you've got some big issues. Up to, let's see, kind of zooming back out here to the southern portions. I think we looked at most of these, but really overall, this was here near the Swedona area. That was that confirmed tornado. That's certainly tornado, yeah. We indicated that on radar, and we're showing that.
What about Cambridge? You see there's one right on top of Cambridge. That's going to be some trees down there.
I think we looked at this one. This was that report of the estimated between 80 to 100-mile-an-hour winds with lots of damage in town. So lots of damage in Henry County, southern portions of Henry County up to Geneseo here. Let's see what we had up there. 62-mile-an-hour winds was confirmed there. there. And again, the most concerning area that had the most significant damage was in the southern portion of the county. So even on the northern portion of that, look at, you saw some pretty significant damage here, and that's from last night up towards Joslyn. Let's look over there because there was, that's going to be last night as well. There was some damage was reported out there as well, but here we go.
Like a major power outage in Kewanee, I just don't think they've had the chance to report that damage yet. But
exactly.
Those will come in, and I think this map will fill up by tomorrow morning.
And we're the ones out here into Bureau County and Putnam County, those are from last night because that area, that little corridor there, saw some significant damage. But I'll go back to radar right now so we can take a look at what's going on right now. The good news, everybody, most places, at least in the TV6 viewing area at this point, I will say with the exception of Eastern Bureau County, you're in the clear right now. You can come out of your basements if you haven't done so already. But in Eastern Bureau County, continue on with your tornado precautions for, say, another probably 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, still some heavy rain, though, as we look to the south. And here we go, back on radar. Southern portions of Des Moines County, Iowa, across the river into Henderson and Warren County, Illinois. Still dealing with some pretty heavy rain. Probably not that big of a deal. Southern Knox County, the back edge of that line of heavy rain. Also the torrential rainfall in Eastern Bureau County. Looks like our tornado warning still continues till 9 o'clock, but it's been shaved back. So it's really now just lining up with areas south and east of Princeton and over to the county line down also toward Putnam County. And then as we go north, yeah, all of our counties here north of I-80, no warnings at this point, just a little bit of rain to get through. You do see up in Wisconsin flash flood warnings, but all the flash flood warnings that were issued for eastern Iowa have been canceled. Looks like maybe that's a good sign that the drainage was going well because our, despite last night's rain, our soil a little on the dry side. I know my lawn's getting a bit crunchy, so the rain is a good thing for some of us, but certainly the damage that we've received with the storms, not something we want to see, especially for some of you. We really feel for you 2 nights in a row. But this is making pretty good progress off to the east, so coming up here in the next few minutes, we'll be able to go back to NBC. Our warning officially expires at 9 o'clock, and that still does include Eastern Bureau County tornado warning there. At this point, we haven't received any new reports, but you can see that, boy, that line certainly leaving the Quad Cities in its wake. And if you noticed earlier today when we were showing you all the outlooks, the severe weather outlook, the outlook for damaging wind, the outlook for tornadoes, it really was the Quad Cities' own. I mean, it was the TV6 viewing area that encompassed or was encompassed by all of those outlooks and areas to the east. Well, you see what happened. The whole TV6 viewing area. I said every county we had would be in a warning at one point this late afternoon into the evening, and that's exactly what happened, unfortunately. Widespread severe weather. Thankfully, this moves to the east, and although Wednesday morning we might see a little bit of rain if we get the cloud cover moving in from the south, that's about it for rain until perhaps the weekend, and certainly much better weather coming as a result of this system moving through, taking the humidity, turning it into showers and thunderstorms. The humidity that's behind this system will translate into perhaps a little bit of fog tonight. Wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Perhaps some widespread fog. But as we get into the day tomorrow, we'll get back some sunlight, few clouds, and humidity, yes, but it won't be as extreme as today. And hour by hour tomorrow, I think we start chipping away at that humidity. Wednesday looks to be a beautiful day. But there you see the warnings. All going to be Chicago's problem now. And now Chicago is under a severe thunderstorm warning at the top end of this line, producing heavy enough rain that we've got this little line of flash flood warnings as well.
Yeah, Eric, real quick, as we're getting this out of the viewing area here, and I think one thing to note is they're going to expire that tornado warning here. So that tornado warning, we got 5 minutes left on it, but if you're in those in Eastern Bureau County, things are definitely improving for you weather-wise. Still quite a bit of heavy rain and lightning in the area, but I'd like to give an update on power outages because pretty significant power outages being indicated here. Almost a quarter of the county of Henry County is out of power, almost 25% of the county. That's over 5,000 customers now, but that is quickly climbing. Every time we refresh the page, it gets higher and higher.
Yep.
Mercer County as well, about 25% of the county is without power, 2,500 reports there. So we go to Rock Island County, 20% of Rock Island County in the county as a whole is 15,000 customers without power. Sliding down into Knox County, where we do have quite a few, 13% at 3,800 customers without power. Also Carroll County. Carroll County, you had that storm kind of the initial line of that move through, we had some tornado warnings up that vicinity, and 23% of the county is without power up there. Joe Daviess County, not as many, but we do have significant power outages there. Stark County, just for reference, 15%. We'll go to the Iowa side. And Scott County is one of the biggest right now, with 20% of Scott County. That's 17,000 customers without power. Major power outages certainly being reported. Jefferson County, Iowa, this is southwest of the viewing area, but 72% of the county is without power. That's a huge number. Muscatine County, rather, not as many. Louisa County is the second most, with 14% of the county without power at this point. So right now, the most significant power outages are being reported, no surprise, in Henry County, with 25% of the county without power right now.
Okay, all right. That's one of the deals, one of the aftermaths of these storms. Another aftermath, if you have damage, let me just say, please be safe. If you're going out in the yard, you got to pick up an outbuilding or cut some trees and use a power saw. Just be careful. Watch out for any nails or debris that could injure you. We don't want to hear any reports of that happening. Otherwise, it looks like we're ready to wrap up coverage here. The tornado warning that is in effect for Bureau County until 9 o'clock, that's essentially over. The threatening weather has moved off to the east. And although it's only 8:57, I think what we'll do is we'll send this back to NBC because, again, I know it's been a very important programming night nationally. We've got the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. We've got the interview that Lester Holt had with the president. Again, that will be on TV6 at 3 o'clock. In the morning, 3 o'clock tomorrow morning, and anything else that you want to see, if you want to see it sooner, I'm pretty sure it will be available at the NBC News portion of NBC.com. So with that said, we're going to send you back to NBC programming. Hopefully we are all safe and there are no injuries. We know there has been plenty of property damage tonight, but as you're picking up through that, please be safe. And thanks for watching us here at KWQC TV6 in Davenport, Iowa. Live storm coverage will come to an end now. We'll have the update and the latest tonight on the news at 10.
Monitor here in the convention hall, and you can see a rather large bandage on his ear. This is the first sighting of him since the assassination attempt that he survived on Saturday night. And right now, members of his family, that's his daughter right there.